Oh, all right. There we are. Hopefully
Hey.
everything looks and sounds good. As always, it wouldn't be a typical stream if I wasn't asking that.
Hey.
But a couple of weeks ago, or last week, really, I had to do a clean install of Windows 10 for the first time in 5 years. And everything is kind of like out of sorts. So, let me know how everything sounds. And if it's satisfactory. So I guess we'll...
Sandy went to the groomer this past week.
Yeah, Nellie went yesterday, or Friday she went.
Well, she feels a lot smaller. Because not so much because fur was trimmed, but because undercoat was taken out.
Oh. Take it like just...
So, it was, that was good.
It's
she needed it.
Yeah.
That's only like the second time I've taken her to a proper groomer for like a full
let me fix that.
groomer. Henry Clark says I'm massively louder.
Yeah, I heard him.
And also, you are a lot quieter than you were before the stream started.
I'm quieter than I was. Well, because I was talking like right in the microphone before.
Oh, well, maybe you should have it closer.
Well, I mean, I want to just keep it slightly out. Okay. Now things should be maybe more even. Let me know.
Okay. Henry Clark, at least this is as of when he typed it, says that you need to go up and I need to go down.
Okay,
so
well, I can make you go down and I can... he should be... let me see here. Yeah, my compression settings are all out of whack, but I mean, I'll just have to roll with it for right now. Now I'm up and good, and Troy needs to come down just a touch. And I can do exactly that. Let me see if I can fix that real quick and make that even better here.
It's not as loud coming to me as it could be, but I just turned my speaker up.
Okay, so you're going to be quiet for a second, but I'm going to bring it back up in a minute here.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet for a second. Then you're going to bring me back.
You're going to be real quiet. Now things should be a little bit better. Let me hear you.
Now things should be a little bit better. I see the OBS little right click thing over my...
Oh, yeah. Let me just fix that. All right. Things should be hopefully good now. Let me know. And we're just gonna roll with it for right now. Now it's fine. Hopefully we're all evened out.
I don't know why, but when you said "let me know," my mind went to "and thank you for watching GameSack."
Let me know.
I was watching the what was it? Series that got another chance or something like that episode on GameSack.
Yes.
And I can't remember, it might have been like one of the Sega Rally games or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think it was like an arcade version that came to like Xbox 360. It just really got me. He said it later ported to the much ballyhooed Xbox 360.
Yeah, the word ballyhooed.
I love the idea of like every time you introduce the Xbox 360, you have to introduce it as the much ballyhooed Xbox 360.
Yeah. That's even on a
sounds like something Tim Rogers would say.
I'm really rushed also in addition to like having to make all these settings and stuff from like doing the Windows reinstall. But I was like just at my neighbor's house. My neighbors have this like really secret in-ground pool in their backyard.
Really secret?
I know, it just like, you would never suspect that it's there. And we had been invited many times, we've never gone, and the kids really wanted to go, so they're down there. and I came back for this, but I was just there for like 15 minutes or so. Not the Gorilla Tape neighbor. But Nellie came back with me, and she like really didn't want to go. So she's like up there, you know,
like staring out the window.
well, and barking and stuff. So here's something really crazy, and I'm gonna see if I can get her to come down here and react to it. I don't know what it is.
Oh, is this going to be the? I think you talked about this before.
Yeah. Oh, did I talk about it maybe last week where I said, you know,
Testing.
yeah, if she hears me like I'm about to record something, and I say testing 1 2 testing, if she hears that, she like comes flying down here. I can, you know, if she's,
It's like the equivalent of me coughing and Sandy freaking out.
yes, but I'm gonna see if I can get her to come down here. Nellie, Nellie, testing 1 2, test 1 2. Testing 1 2, test 1 2.
Did that get her?
Come here, up here.
Oh, I heard her. I heard her little feet stomping.
Testing 1 2, test 1 2. Come on, up here. Like the. Come on. See? Come here. Come here. Come here, baby, up here. Come on. See? It makes her go crazy. Up here. Testing 1 2. There's something about me saying that it just gets her going crazy. Come on, up here. Come here. Come here, baby.
There's a $2 super chat from Dad 1153 saying
There she
Coury
is.
without glasses looks like a WWE loving bouncer.
Oh yeah. Is that I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll see. See? There she is. She knew. She's like, oh, you know, it's my chance to be on camera, I think.
There was also a notification just before the stream that Joshua Eckert is now a member.
Ooh. Welcome. So, yeah.
Oh,
so it's just there's something
weird.
about saying that makes her go crazy. Like, watch. Nellie, testing 1 2. Test 1 2. Then she starts like giving me lots of kisses. Maybe it's because every time she hears that and she runs down here, I always like give her lots of little snuggles and stuff. But now she's just gonna hang out right here. Is that okay?
I mean, for me, it's always. I know, Sandy.
All right, so
I don't think you could see her, but oh yeah, you could see her a little bit there. I just saw the replay on my end.
So I just want to like clear something up really quick.
Huh?
I just want to clear something up really quick.
Yes.
Some people may have started to see like our live streams in their like watch next or being recommended to them, and the reason for that is because I found out recently that we got the live tab like on our front page, and your streams will be listed underneath there. But the thing is you have to make them public for that to happen. And I've been going back through them all and kind of tweaking the titles a little bit, but also making it so it's not recommending them to people like in their subscription feeds, like their new videos, because we don't want that to happen at all. So I'm unchecking that, but I'm making them public so they show up in that list. But the thing is by doing that, it like puts them out there. It puts them out in the algorithm or whatever. So the downside is we have about 415 live streams that I've been slowly putting out there. 415. So this is
Are they
number
all out now?
416. So like I don't know if that's good or that's bad. I mean it's weird for some people, but I mean some people might say, "Oh, this looks like something that I could put on in the background."
Yeah.
And
we should definitely trim the start of them.
oh yeah, going forward, what I'm going to do is, like once I get them all out there, I'm gonna start going through them and trimming the start times to get rid of like the, like the pre-stream waiting period. Get rid of that so that I can, people will just jump right into it. And that's fine. But the thing is, like, once you start doing it, once you do one for something that long, it generally takes like 24 hours for it to reprocess.
Mm.
Now she's back up there. She did not want to come home. Okay.
The Panzer Dragoon Orta stream was not saved because like it was over 24 hours. So
yeah, something like if it goes over 12 hours, then you can't have an archive of it anymore.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, so I mean, live streams have always been findable because we have on the front page of the channel, we have a public playlist of the stream archive, but people didn't know how to find it. But we didn't want them mixing in with our regular content.
Yeah.
And now that there is a separate live tab, like a videos tab and a live tab. So now the live stuff won't be mixing in with our edited videos. So we're not as afraid to have the streams live now.
Right.
Or public.
Exactly.
The archive public now. So, hopefully it will be good for us and not
we haven't lost any subscribers.
Things.
Which is we haven't lost any subscribers. I mean, if we did lose any,
no one's complained.
Nobody said anything. Yeah. But the thing is, like, we'll sometimes get like random comments on these streams now.
Right. But I think we should try to make stream. We should make a separate stream thumbnail template because, like, I think it would be good for people to be able to tell just from a glance at the thumbnail, like, is this a stream or is it edited video? Because we don't want people out there who aren't already subscribers to be like, oh, every time I see one of those guys' videos, it's just a stream.
Exactly. So, but that's like a whole other, like several day, maybe week process of like making 400 thumbnails, 415 thumbnails.
Yeah, but going forward, we should make a new thumbnail template that looks a little different than our normal template.
But nobody's complained so far. Maybe people are like, hey, this is kind of neat. Like, I didn't know that they did that. And, speaking of that, I was going to... Last week, I think one of the reasons we had so many people is I started putting it back on, like, advertising on, like, social media again. Because, we like, last week's stream was, like, the biggest stream we've had in years.
Well, and also the total number of people that have viewed it, it's probably already the number one most viewed stream. Because when I looked at it a few days ago, I was surprised because I sorted to see, what was the most popular streams. That was right behind an episode where we just did a bunch of RetroTink 5X stuff, which I don't even remember doing. I'm not sure if that was before the RetroTink 5X episode came out or after.
I think it was before.
Yeah.
I
mean, also, but I guess my point is also clearly people were hungry to see RetroTink 4K stuff.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people showed up.
Yes. All right. Now that we're okay.
Yeah.
I might need to adjust that screen here a little bit.
I've almost streamed this game many times.
Yeah, do you like it a lot?
I've not played far into it. I had it back in the day.
You never finished it?
I never finished it.
Wow.
It's kind of. Then I sold it and then rebought it at some point. It was not very well reviewed back in the day, mostly because it's really short, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've definitely heard a lot of people defend it over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
this is pretty short.
it's apparently it's really short. That was why it got, that was the main reason it got bad reviews back in the day.
Oh. Well,
which is always for us kind of like,
yeah. But I guess
the you know, I don't remember why I was doing it, but the choose a file screen, when Sandy was a puppy. In fact, I think this was before that I think it was before that Kirby Star Allies video that I put up on Twitter that got some traction, you know, where she was barking at Kirby walking back and forth across the screen. Before then, even I got a little video of her freaking out about Wario walking from book to book on that file select screen. That really got her going.
I mean, do I really care about the story in this? Probably not.
Probably not.
So this was developed by Treasure, I guess.
Yes.
That's. I mean, it seems kind of surprising.
You know, I always think back to this video. I wonder if anyone else has a memory of having seen this. I was probably on like IGN or something back when this wasn't out yet. And, you know, remember, you know, web video from E3 and stuff like that was always like really bad quality.
Right.
But, you know, you were devouring every little bit of video you could look at for a game because there wasn't a lot of video out there.
Oh, yeah.
For games that weren't out yet, right? So, I remember this like off-screen footage of Wario World at E3. And, like, there's this whole thing about these, like, sticky balls in the game that, like, you, like, can move around them and then, like, jump off in the direction that your back is facing, I think.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I just have this memory of people in the background talking about, you know, how those sticky balls, and guys just like, wow, that's just so cool. I mean, Nintendo, innovative, you know? I mean, just what do you expect? And I just remember thinking, like, I mean, yeah, Nintendo does have a lot of great ideas, but like, it doesn't look like anything special about Wario and the sticky balls.
I mean, sounds messy. That's me.
But yeah, it's funny that, you know, I got this game back when it came out, and like, I know it's short, and I didn't even finish it, but like, you know, I probably just didn't have the right approach going into it. I mean, it's basically considered kind of a basic sort of brawler, I think.
That's not a bad thing.
You know,
I don't know if this is if it's expensive now, but mine has a Game Swap price sticker on it still for $19.99. But that was during the glory days. I used to go to the Game Swap in the Florence Mall.
Oh,
and
yeah,
a friend of mine was good friends with the owner, or like the guy who like ran that store. Like basically like an owner, but like nah. Like I don't know if it's if it's like franchised out that way, but he's like one of the people that ran it, and he used to sell everything to me for 50% off, like a flat 50% off.
Yeah.
So in reality, this cost me $10. Those were the glory days, and then they closed.
I think it's probably definitely gone up a bit. I want to say I got it for maybe when I rebought it. I think I got it for like 30 several years ago.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what it would have been. I guess almost what it would have been.
We've got people saying it's like $60 or $80 now. I mean, GameCube stuff is hot. What can you say?
Yep.
This is, this is a 60 frames per second game, which is, that's a point in its favor.
Yeah, it does, and it's very apparent.
Very smooth.
Ooh, you can do flips and stuff. Ooh.
I didn't have as much time this week to dedicate to testing stuff on the Retrode 4K as I would have liked, but I kind of took a break from everything and messed around with it all day today, and I had a lot of fun. I figured out how to fix some shimmery games.
Yeah.
Some games are beyond saving though. At least with the current settings that you have available on the Retrode. I mean, it's possible that something in the future might give you a little more control to fix, but some are they're starting from such a bad place. I don't really know if it would be possible in some cases. But I'm kind of making a stack of games that I successfully had complete success with in terms of either fixing bad scaling or being able to sort of pre-scale them in such a way to where scan lines worked really well. I've got another stack of games that are
a fat stack.
I've got another stack that's it works decently, but with some asterisks. And then another stack where, it was just kind of a bit of a failure trying to do any sort of scaling fixing.
Yeah. You got to use the Smash Brothers failure if it doesn't. I feel like that's something.
But the stack of successes is much larger than either of the other stacks, and the successful scaling. These are all pixel art games or emulated collections or something like that. So far the stack of successes is quite large, and the stack of failures is quite small, and then the in between, it mostly works but not perfectly. That stack it's not too big either. It's pretty small. So yeah, I'm just kind of going through stuff and seeing what happens. I was actually surprised to see that Super Mario Maker, you can actually get some better scan lines on it than I thought you could. But that one also, with the menu and everything, downscaling it doesn't work perfectly, and there's also some things in the gameplay that don't scale perfectly, but for the most part it works shockingly well. Now, what does work great in Mario Maker, though, is just doing a nearest neighbor 4K upscale, because all of the sprites, there's no anti-aliasing on them or anything, so it just looks really sharp. It looks like it looks like a native 4K Switch game, pretty close to it. It's pretty cool.
I think Voltar was asking what I'm playing this through, and I'm just playing it through the Retrode 5X, the old standby. I do not have a 4K.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But so you're using, I assume, official component cables?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you're not using a carburetor.
No. I was just talking to Chris from Classic Gaming Quarterly. He just got a GC loader.
Yeah.
And he was using a set of the those Retrobit Prism component cables.
Yeah.
Which I've heard are not very good, but he said that he was getting audio dropouts, and it was because of the cable. He switched over to using going from a Carby to a component transcoder, like a Carby HDMI out.
Right.
So, and then that fixed it. So those, I guess those Retrode cables, like I know that they're supposed to be pretty bad, but that
Well,
like,
I
if they're
mean,
just, like,
there
having
was actually a
audio
little.
dropouts, that's like even
Someone
worse.
in the Discord today said something about like, does anyone make good GC video component cables?
Yeah, I mean the carbide component cables are.
Yeah,
really
those are good. I think they were a pretty limited run though.
Yes.
But they were like BNC and stuff, so they were they were definitely a little overkill. But they are good.
I had to throw out that big old W over there. So I think I was telling you earlier, right? I was just like really pushing to finish Final Fantasy 16 this weekend. I played it a whole bunch yesterday, and I'm like right at the very end.
Yeah.
But for some reason, maybe it's just because it's like pretty easy to do so once you get a pretty good loadout of magic.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just gonna like do some of this side stuff, see how it goes. And I ended up doing like all the hunts and like all the side quests.
Yeah.
Got like the strongest sword that you can get on the first playthrough. Apparently, when you play through Final Fantasy mode, you get an upgrade for the final sword, and it makes it the Atma weapon. Or maybe it might be Ultima weapon actually.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy 6 is the only one that's used the term Atma.
Yeah, probably.
And I don't even know if that's like.
That's what I think about though.
Is that like a mistranslation? Like, should it have been
probably.
Ultima? But like, I always liked the term Atma weapon.
Yeah, I see. Someone was just saying, Cheetah Man was saying, "Oh, I want to like Final Fantasy 16." Yeah, I mean, as someone who did not like 15 like at all, I would say that this is marginally better.
I think it's a lot better, but it's, I like it, but it's, it's in the bottom half of my Final Fantasies, but that's only because there's so many good games in the top half, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's all right. It has some serious pacing issues.
I mean, I think it's in a lot of ways its pacing is a lot better than some Final Fantasy games though, because like at least it does get pretty exciting pretty often. Whereas I feel like, I don't know, like starting with 10, like don't get me wrong, 10 has a good story, but it has like its pacing is relatively even all across the game. Like it doesn't like really like build up to like super exciting moments very often.
Right.
And that was always kind of a disappointment to me coming off of, the Super Nintendo and PS1 era, which I think, all of those games I think have pretty masterful pacing.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like 10 was a step back in that regard.
Yeah, but it has the, like, I mean, there's a couple of times where I really feel like it has like those, I always dub them like those Final Fantasy moments where it just kind of gets you hyped up with what's happening. Like I always think about when they're rescuing Yuna from marrying Seymour, like that's like that game's moment.
That
for
part
me.
always disappointed me because you don't actually like that's all just an FMV. Like you don't even get to be there.
Well, I mean, it's basically just like the same thing as something like in earlier games where you like my favorite Final Fantasy moment in Final Fantasy VII is when Tifa's on the end of the cannon at Junin.
Oh, 100%.
But that's all FMV.
Well, but you do have a little control like ahead of it. Like it's one of those moments where like I think where they like blend like the real time model on top with the FMV layer on the bottom at first.
Yeah, but I mean that's just the way. Like if they probably had the time to do it all in FMV, they probably would have.
But you know, I love 12. You know, both of us like 13. But you know, the series has, I think, had a hard time getting those Final Fantasy moments right since since after the PS1 era. So,
Well,
like,
so on the flip side, like it's not.
except for 14. 14, I think, has really good
Take me
Final
back to the
Fantasy.
beginning of the level. Sorry if I'm like, I always have so much. So
Wait, did you
hard
die?
No, I just like rode that balloon. I think it took me back to the beginning of the level.
Oh.
Uh,
I mean, it's hard to pay attention to what the game is trying to teach you when you're streaming.
So now, like, if I like to have a like a counterpoint to that, so this game has like these really really big moments, like fairly frequently, but I feel like they are like they're so much that it's like kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't get you hyped up. It's just like, oh, here we go again. You know, like it's another big thing happening. Like, and I think that's like I felt almost like desensitized to it, just because.
I mean, it's cool. I will say that like some of the, I don't know if it was really so much a issue of the cinematography as it just was kind of like the image quality, because I was playing on the quality mode because apparently the performance
I mean,
mode
that's what I did too.
is really bad. So I was playing on quality mode, but like even then, like the game has like a very sparkly sort of image quality to it.
It's got like these weird like things floating, and like it always seems like there's like blue or like little white sparkles kind of just floating.
Like they almost look like glitches, but they're not.
Exactly.
And I think, you know, I can't, like, you know, Digital Foundry was saying it seems to use FSR, and you know, apparently like FSR 1 at that, and so like that might be part of the problem, but I don't know. But like they're there and then they like disappear, and it's like what is that? What are they?
Yeah, I mean, like, is it supposed to be doing that?
Yeah, but it's like it's clearly supposed to be doing it, but like I feel like maybe FSR is like distorting the intent of those sparklies, but especially during like the icon battles, I do feel like there's so many like particle effects and other just special effects going on the screen that that like it can sometimes just be hard to parse the action.
Yeah.
Like it's not as easy to parse as like even like 15 frames per second FMV on PS1, you know, that would show us someone doing something cool in Final Fantasy 9 or you know, or just like the gameplay summon animations in like the PS1 Final Fantasy game. Like sometimes those are a little easier to parse than like what's in 16, because it's just like so much, and there's all those like sparkly details kind of making it feel noisy, and it's just I'll admit it can be a little hard to follow what's going on sometimes.
What the heck? How do I get out of here?
And see, Backflash saying Breath of the Wild. I don't know. I don't think FSR existed when Breath of the Wild came out, but I think you maybe meant Tears of the Kingdom. I heard that I also heard that it uses FSR. But see, you know, people complained a lot about Tears of how, you know, I think like that was a big wake up call for a lot of people of just like, oh my gosh, like Switch games look bad on my 4K TV or whatever. And like I thought it looked fine.
I totally
like it did not.
Fine.
I was not at all bothered by how Breath of the Wild looked on my TV, or excuse me, Tears of the Kingdom. And I think, and like I honestly had more issues, I would say, with Final Fantasy 14's or excuse me 16's image quality than Tears of the Kingdom. And I think the reason is I was actually talking to some people about this on Discord this weekend. Like I feel like so many modern games just like have so much detail in them, and then when you play something with like more of a flatter shading style like Zelda, like sometimes it's like it just feels like a relief for my eyeballs sometimes. You know, like you're playing a game like Final Fantasy 16, it's just like packed with visual detail, right? It's just
yes,
just texture. It's just so highly textured everywhere. And in some ways that can make sort of some of the speckly details stand out more to me. And then like something like Breath of the Wild, where it's got a much flatter sort of color palette going on, and you know the textures aren't this like ultra high frequency detail. Like sometimes to me that can just it's just easier for me to like take in the image, understand what's going on, see like, okay, over here's things that I can do. It's just easier to parse the gameplay and take it all in sometimes, I think.
So, I mean, it's probably weird, but like at no point in Final Fantasy have I been like, oh my God, that looks awesome.
You know, it is interesting because like it
maybe I'm just desensitized to it or something, but it just like
it does look really good, like, but at the same time, I was surprised that I feel like it is a very textured game, but like I have seen like higher resolution textures on PS4, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it is a good looking game overall.
I mean, I feel like that's something like anymore like just visually. It doesn't like get me super like I'm not like wowed like I used to be about stuff, and it like that's not like a knock against anything. It's just that like maybe I just don't care about it as much anymore.
Yeah.
Like I said, like with Breath of the Wild or with Zelda, like I was totally not bothered by its frame rate or its visuals like at all. Like for me. I felt when I'm playing Zelda that it impressed me because it just like was so big and it didn't have to stop, and it's just like all right there.
Right.
Like that.
I mean, like, I think I said
in
before
in
where
that regard is like what I find to be like that. That's why when I would think like, wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah. And two, just the fact that something was done on pretty weak hardware. When you see something impressive, like, of course you expect a PS5 game to be visually impressive, right? And that makes the flaws harder to ignore, maybe. And then, like, when, like, for the longest time, I'd been saying, like, man, I'm just not excited for the, Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever we called it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was just like, I know I'm going to play it day one, and I know I'm going to like it, but I'm just not excited about the idea of playing another Zelda that is very similar to the one that I played previously on the same hardware that I played the last one on. Like I want to play the next Zelda on new hardware. So I was really hoping it was going to be like it was going to end up being like, oh, it's going to be, a simultaneous like launch game with the next Switch, and it'll
probably
be a
will
lot
be
better on the new Switch.
I mean, I bet a new version does come out.
Yeah. Oh, I bet they're going to patch a ton of games. I bet they will. Because that's like easy content to impress.
I have to spin the anime. Thank you.
If the.
Do I gotta do it like this? How do I do it?
But anyway, but then when it came out, I was actually like, you know what? I am glad this is a Switch game, because I feel like the things they were doing in that, like, it is so far beyond the like very static and limitedly interactive open worlds that are, so popular on much more powerful systems. Like PS4 and PS5 class open world games, like, can only dream of being what Breath of the Wild is. And Tears of the Kingdom, let's especially Tears of the Kingdom with all of the building stuff, right? Like it's
Right.
yeah, I know there's stuff like Minecraft, but like to do the things that game does at the level of fidelity that it does, even though it's a Switch game, is very impressive. And I was more impressed that they had the audacity to do what they did on such limited hardware as Switch than I possibly would have been if it was on the next system. And it's like, well, of course I expect it to be more powerful. It needs to do more to impress me, right? But I was very impressed just as it was. There's some sticky balls.
Oh, that's what you're talking about?
There's the sticky balls.
It's kind of neat looking when they climb.
I mean, it is cool. It is cool.
Well, he looks cool. Like he looks funny when he's on it. When he's crawling on it. He's crawling on them balls.
But yeah, I mean, just the context of hardware is so important in terms of how much it's going to impress you. And I don't know. I felt more impressed by Zelda than
Final Fantasy?
From a technical standpoint, I suppose, than Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 16. Like, even though I think Final Fantasy 16 was very good, and it released in a good and polished state. No major bugs or issues that I know of. Certainly not that I ran across. So, that can be a rarity. I'm glad they polished it as much as they did. But Tears of the Kingdom sure was polished too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like within the context of their hardware, I ended up more impressed by Tears of the Kingdom. I do like Final Fantasy 16 quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish I liked it more than I do like it. And
I mean,
just like everybody talks so much, and it like I definitely got to the point. And not saying that like I cared that much about the like the side quest that much, but I just like just got to a point where I'm just like da 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 all the way through it. It's like not even listening to it, because most of the time you can get the gist of it just by what Clive says after gameplay goes back to it. He's like, well, let's see.
I mean, normally I don't do stuff like that, but like, that's definitely one reason where I say like I don't get this obsession with like, oh, every game has to have voice acting or else
well,
it's lazy or low budget or something. I'm like, I can read faster than actors can talk.
Yeah. I mean, probably my favorite thing is like the writing. It's just like like we talked about, like the Game of Thrones isms, like before, and like a Mughals fart. And like you have like this like Jesus like character and like Grieger, it's like some, I don't know if I didn't really read too much of like the entries and stuff about her.
There's not a lot of like,
but they
Grieger is just the god of the empire, goddess of the empire,
right. Yeah, I mean, but like there's one time I just thought it was so funny, and it's like just like what Madonna Sheehy is saying. Like I was just going around and just like saying out loud in my house, where like they were talking, like it was like an exclamation, and I might have been the blacksmith guy. He was like, Grieger's tits.
I mean, I feel like several characters said that.
Yeah.
They've got their in-universe swears.
Yeah. But I was dying at that. I like, it's just like, just found myself like saying it all the time. I don't know why. It's just like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I assume I'm supposed to be punching this thing.
Sorry,
Sorry, I was
supposed
like,
to throw the enemies at the boss.
do I spin it and then? Oh, I can probably pick them up, right? I'm just.
But like,
I'm all out
I
of
mean,
sorts for these
it
GameCube
definitely
games.
has like its particular sort of high fantasy
There it is.
sort of tone to it, and but and Final Fantasy 14 is very similar, and that it has like, but Final Fantasy 14 also takes itself a fair bit less seriously. So sometimes that stuff comes across like intentionally humorously.
Yeah. What I think is also kind of interesting, and I'm not sure if in a lot of games, like a lot of Final Fantasy games, when they show like cities and stuff with like a bunch of people in it, it gives a sense of scale. But I don't think that like really happens in this, except for like when you see the armies and stuff. But outside of that, like everything feels like, oh, it's like a dozen people that live in this town.
Well,
Most
like
of the time.
that, and that's fine. I mean, that's how. I mean, really, that's how 16-bit and 32-bit
Yes,
RPGs
exactly.
are too. But they're kind of more representative. Whereas this, I think you're supposed to take the visuals more literally. But like in 16, the major cities like actually end up being like
That does it.
dungeons
Oh shoot.
rather than like places where you go around and talk to people. Like it's small towns, right?
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Joshua Eckert said, "Don't forget that Thal exists in Final Fantasy 14 purely so characters can say Thal's balls." that's the Final Fantasy 14 equivalent in universe
Krieger's
swear.
tits. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Just in general, like I wish that I felt more strongly about it. But just for the most part, I just kind of find, like I feel like it's kind of boring overall. Like it just doesn't do it for me.
I liked the characters quite a bit. I'd say the characters were probably the game's strongest point.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of the side characters, like I don't really find myself caring too much about.
Yeah, I mean,
I get real sick of I get real sick of Karen's her accent, and when you buy something, she says,
"Oh, I love Karen.
I mean,
she's great.
I like her character, but I just got real sick of her like accent after a bit. When she's like, better all be here, or whatever it says. Better all be here.
Better all be, yeah."
Yeah. Oh, like it's just like it's like annoying in a way that I like try to do it every single time so I can hear it.
My favorite though was when you leave and she goes,
enjoying
"Come
it,
back again soon."
Yeah.
Or not. I'm not much bothered either way.
Yeah, like
I like that one.
yeah. Although I feel like she should just eventually should have started saying something different. But at least she, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, like,
Well, there was like
who am I
a
to,
brief after there was that one quest she was involved with. She like very briefly says nicer stuff to you,
yeah.
and then but then the next time you visit, it's back to the same old quotes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm like, it very well may be something like it was with 10, where I didn't really care for it for like the entire game, and then the ending really turned me around on it and made me like retroactively enjoy everything else. It's kind of weird how that worked out, but I loved just how gutsy the ending to 10 was at the time before they had a sequel or anything,
No, I really need to play through the HD version someday.
Yes, I'd like to replay it as well.
Because I played a little ways into the HD version on PS3. And I had a good time. That was for I recorded footage from that for John's 1080p Dream video, and I had to save a short ways into it, and I just ended up playing it for like a couple more, like 2 or 3 more hours, because I was just having a good time. In fact, that was kind of what inspired me to replay Final Fantasy 13 last year. Because I was just like, oh, like I really want to replay a Final Fantasy now, but I want to replay one that I've only beaten once, and I've beaten 10, like the PS2 version, at least twice, maybe 3.
Guess that's not what I'm supposed to be doing here. Can I go up and over it? That's obviously what I'm supposed to do. I'm normally not this bad at video games.
But it's hard. It's hard to figure stuff out with this shit.
Yes, very much so.
We've been last week on the Backloggery stream. We started Lost Kingdoms. I'm kind of in the middle of a GameCube game myself.
Oh.
Have you ever played that?
No.
Do you even really know much about it?
Yeah, I mean, 8-Bit Duke did a video on them. Isn't there like 2 of them?
Yeah. Huh?
There's 2 of them, right?
Yes. They're like, they're like action RPG card battlers. They're pretty good. It's very simple, but at the time it came out, it was an early GameCube game, and people were still so starved for RPGs on Nintendo consoles.
Yeah.
Even on handhelds, they weren't that common because Square hadn't come back. Can you not hit that gate with the small guys?
I tried to, but I think I got to go up and over it. That's what I'm doing here. I'm only making it harder for myself, honestly, because I'm not paying as close of attention as I should be. Too busy talking about Final Fantasy 16.
Oh man,
What?
Meg X6 says really the only FF game I really couldn't get through was the Crystal Bearers. That game is such a weird thing for me, because
supposed to be like a rail shooter or something. Like the videos I saw of it when it was before it came out made it look like a rail shooter to some extent.
I guess I could see that. Like, I thought it looked awesome. Like, I just thought the trailers, like gameplay videos I saw, looked awesome. Like, I don't know, I just thought it looked really like a really fun action RPG.
Yeah.
And man, when I got it, I was so disappointed. I mean, I did beat it. It's pretty short, but like the gameplay is just terrible. Like it's not even necessarily that it's like hard to play, but it's just like not compelling in any way.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Like,
I mean,
there's like a lot of like kind of, I guess, kind of like sort of mini game-ish story events though that I do think played pretty badly. Like the basic gameplay, like the basic combat is like not difficult, but just not compelling. It was just very, there was just like no real reason to fight a lot of the time. It was very boring.
yeah, I've never played it, and you really don't see it anywhere. I would not be surprised if it's like expensive now.
Oh, I don't think so. Because remember that, that was one of the games that, you were just talking about, GameSwap. I actually, because I had sold it at one point of like, collection culling, and I saw it there, and I was like, if I'm going to rebuy this game just to have it, just because it's like I feel like it's just, I don't know, it felt notable for me personally just because of how excited I was and then how bad it turned out to be. And I just felt like I needed that in my collection again. I was like, well, if I'm going to get a game this bad again, it may as well be at half price. So it was only like $10 at most. So I think it was like $10. So I think I paid $5.
Cannot go there. Oh, it's like a...
Have you ever played through any Crystal Chronicles game?
No. If there's only
Have
two
you
of
played
them, right?
much of the GameCube one at all?
I mean, I have it, but I've never played it.
I mean,
That was something I got at GameSwap at the time.
It's definitely one of the best looking games on the system. It's not like amazing though, and you know when Drummond, Lennon, Xavier, and I did a 4-player run, we actually like couldn't beat the final boss because we were like rushing through the game so much because we were marathoning it, right?
I remember that.
We were not trying to do too much excess stuff in it, but the thing is, you need all of these like memories, like literal memories, like of your adventure to beat the final boss, or to easily beat the final boss. And the less memories you have, the less power you have. So it actually behooves you to spend at least a little more time than you need to with the game, or else the final boss is going to be really difficult.
So were you able? Did you finish it some other way?
No, we never finished that run. But you know what? That was the marathon that we used to raise the funds to make the backlog plushies.
Oh right.
So we're like, well, you know what? Like a stream that is basically being used to summon backlog into existence. It only makes sense that it ends in abject failure.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
So we kind of accepted it. But like I had beaten so when the game first came out, I played it with my college roommate. And we got a ways into it. We got at least to the volcano. I forget how far. It's not like super far in, maybe a year or two in the game. Never finished it. And then I finished it single player. And in a lot of ways, like I think the game is kind of better single player just because you have Mog to carry the chalice for you.
Okay.
And you know, especially when it's only two. I mean, if you got 3 or 4 players, I guess it's not that bad because you know, you can rotate much more easily, like who's carrying the chalice and stuff. Well, only 2 players isn't that fun, I think, because you know, that's just not enough people to, you know, for it to be very fun to deal with the chalice. So, like, it's much nicer having, you know, the NPC Moogle carrying it for you. I mean, it's a gorgeous game, and it's reasonably fun. Very basic, but it's a decent, incredible soundtrack. Oh my gosh!
I guess the remaster was not very good though.
I heard mixed things. I don't think there was a physical copy of it, or if there was a physical copy, it may have not come with like an actual cartridge or something. I forget. I downloaded the demo and briefly played it, and it seemed okay. But it's definitely a showpiece for the GameCube.
I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing here.
Yeah, what the heck are you doing? Like, what is the point of this?
I don't know. I'm just gonna do it all. Do them all because you never know.
You never know. You're probably just supposed to find the escape. Because I think
Well,
I get the impression that when you fall into those pits, it's just like a mini game to get you back up to the surface. So you can probably quit as soon as you find the springboard. Next time you see that garlic,
Look at that. That's super creepy looking. Those bombs.
Oh,
Real creepy
yeah.
looking, right?
Yeah,
Got
it's
these,
like
a face on it, like a human face.
it looks like looks like one of those like old timey like moon photo face things.
Yeah.
Man, you should probably buy a lot more garlic.
Yeah. Do I have plenty to buy it. Give me that garlic.
Golden cane. There is an apostrophe in Y's for the Master System.
Yes. Or is that like an NES?
The same platform that you can play Sicko Fox on.
Yes. And Monopoly. Don't forget Monopoly.
Monopoly.
That's a good one.
How is that one spelled?
Exactly how it's pronounced. MONOP space POLY.
Oh, space. Because I was going to say, it kind of is spelled Monopoly.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
okay,
that's what it says on the cartridge. It says MONO space POLY. Or POLOY. Well, whatever. I don't know. POLY. Yeah. Monopoly. Like it straight up says it.
Monopoly. How is Sicko Fox spelled?
It's spelled psycho without the Y, I think. Or without the P, maybe? No, I have one. Hang on.
Oh, you have it.
I'm pretty sure
You have a Sicko Fox.
I think I do. I can't tell you for sure. No, I don't. I'm pretty maybe.
Is it like
Or maybe
PS?
it's like missing the H.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah.
I'll look up Psycho Fox misprint.
I see. Like so, one of the items that I got on this level was an NES, and I guess this is really when they started to kind of cash in. Well, I guess they did a little bit on the N64 too. On the actual like nostalgia of the NES design, maybe, as this generation.
Wait, what were you saying? What?
Was the GameCube generation like when Nintendo really started to like capitalize on the like nostalgia of the NES system, US system design? You think?
A bit. I mean, with like Animal Crossing, you know.
Yeah.
And then like the GBA SP with the NES design and stuff. Yeah. But why do you bring that up?
Because one of the items that I got in this looks like an NES.
I mean, there's all the way back on the Super Nintendo, of course, late Super Nintendo, but there's like in Super Mario RPG, there's that bit of where you go behind the curtain and you like turn into Super Mario 1 Mario. I'm trying to find a picture of Sicko Fox. I am having a hard time. Why is it not?
There was
You think it
Dad
would be
1153 with a $2 donation. Thank you. Saying, so this is Treasure paying bills between classics. Yeah.
I mean, that was definitely Treasure's MO in general. Like they did licensed games and then they did their own games.
Right.
You know, although this was a little bit different in that it was a video game license rather than, you know, something else like McDonald's or Astro Boy or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this is definitely not spoken of in the same breath as, you know, your Gunstar Heroes and your Sin and Punishments, but
It ain't
it's
no
been a
stretch
long time
panic,
since I
that's for sure.
played much of this game. I mean, the fact that I didn't finish it back in the day may say a little bit of something, but you know, I've always wanted to go back to it and give it a proper go.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it does have its fans. So,
Did you ever play Stretch Panic?
no, the name is familiar, but I can't remember what system it's for, or what it looks like.
That was a PS2 game.
That's Treasure?
Yeah.
It's
And
one I
was
don't know
so
much about.
hyped by Game Go magazine. It was on the cover of their very first and only printed issue.
Oh,
They were really excited about it.
have you played it?
Yes, I didn't think it was very good at the time, but it's been a long time since I played it. Like, I wonder if it would be considered better now.
I'll look it up.
It's a CD game.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, that issue that's the only one that they.
I don't especially like the box art. It's very, I don't know, or at least the. Oh, okay, the Japanese box art's a little better. The U.S. box art is just very like American cartoon, like Nickelodeon version of the concept. It is a strange looking game.
Yeah.
Looking at video clips and and screenshots, it is very strange looking.
Whenever I see one of those,
it looks like it might have been called
Triceratops.
Freak Out in Europe.
Oh, is that what it's called in Europe?
It looks like it.
Huh. Whenever I see those Triceratops, for some reason, I think of makes me think of Wolf Davidson. Or it's not Wolf Davidson. It's Hulk Davidson. Sorry, there's a kid in my daughter's class named Wolf Davidson, and I think like, man, like that makes me think of Hulk Davidson. Like it's like the coolest name I could ever, in the world, really.
Yeah.
I mean, second only to Hulk Davidson.
Yes.
Hulk Davidson is the best name in the world. You know what? When I was getting ready to say that, I was like, I don't want to accidentally say this kid's name. And I just went and just did it. I did not mean to. It's like the best name.
It's a great name. I mean, Davidson is a pretty. I mean, like Davidson on its own is like not that great of a last name, but it pairs so well with other cool first names that
Yes.
like it like you have to have the right first name preceding the Davidson for the Davidson to be cool.
Yes. Where in the town that I grew up, my dad's favorite restaurant is like a kind of a fried fish place, like diner type fried fish place. It was called Davidson's.
But just on its own, like that sounds pretty bland, right? But if it was Hulk Davidson's,
to an extent, yes. But weirdly, I can't associate the name by itself. Like I have to think like if I hear the name Davidson's, I'm automatically thinking Hulk Davidson.
Oh, of course.
You can't have one without the other.
Hulk Davidson's in the house.
Yes.
And Hulk Davidson was born to be wild. Or more specifically, wild. Have we ever streamed Beautiful Joe?
I don't think so. You know, I never finished the second one.
Really? You should put that on your list of games for 2024. I mean,
that would be a good one.
It's short and a lot easier than the first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think that
I don't know if it's. I mean, it's, when I say it's short, I mean I'm not saying it's like shorter than the original, but I mean games like that aren't that long, right? It's probably. I think it's very comparable to the length of the first game.
I've never streamed Shenmue. Although you know, like I probably could.
Could you? I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, it might be.
Shenmue, like I feel like would be an impossible stream.
Yeah. There was $10 Canadian from Buddy Scotch. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Saying, I've decided to make the expensive decision to try and collect all Castlevania titles. Currently, I'm missing Bloodlines, Rondo Super 4, and Chronicles. Does the Saturn port of Symphony of the Night count as one? I mean, no, it doesn't need to.
I would say you could get away with not counting. I mean, like for example, like you know, I have all of the Kirby games. And you know, there's definitely some where there's like wiggle room. Like, for example, I wasn't originally planning to get the Super Famicom version of Star Stacker because it's pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw it at a convention. It was a pretty decent deal. I'm like, okay, I'm going. But like, I didn't require myself to get it, but it was kind of like, you know, it was nice to get. There's also a really weird case where there's like, you know, there's like those Satellaview games, which you can't really collect. So those don't really count. But then there's also like a e-reader card that came in Nintendo Power that has like a little mini game thing on it. And at first I was like, oh no, when I learned about it, and then it turned out I haven't. I've just never used it. So you know, there's wiggle room, and like, you know, when I say I have all of the Kirby games, well, I don't have, you know, they aren't all in box. You know, only the ones that I'm the original owner of are in box. You know, and it's not like I have like all the Japanese versions. I have a couple of Japanese versions, but not that many.
So this is a Kirby sliding puzzle, but what am I supposed to do here? Can't go down.
But yeah, you can definitely make some concessions like that, I'd say. I mean, honestly, you could if you had if you had Dracula X Chronicles on PSP, or if you had you could probably smash the box toward there and then do that rolling jump onto it.
Does it go that high? Let's find out.
Maybe. Or if I don't know if you got like the PS4 collection that has Rondo and Symphony, and you know, definitely wiggle room. I wish I had Chronicles. I don't have it. I definitely wish I had Chronicles. I've got all the ones you're missing that you listed though, aside from Chronicles. I've got Super 4, Rondo, and Bloodlines. I don't have a Saturn Symphony of the Night, but you do.
Right.
A Saturn Soten.
Oh, you don't have a do you have Chronicles on the?
I don't. No.
Really?
Well, it's ultra expensive and basically always.
Oh. For some reason, I was thinking.
You were thinking Dracula X Chronicles.
Yes. Okay.
PS.
So yeah.
No, Chronicles for PS1. That's like what it's a Sharp X68000 game.
Yeah.
I think.
When that came out, I think it was $20. I'm pretty sure like that's...
Yeah, well, and you know, again, it was one of those things. It's like, man, why did we listen to reviewers back then? Because it's like it's totally a good game, but like back then, people were like, oh, this is a big step back from Symphony of the Night.
Yeah,
this is an outdated game. And it's like, well, you know what? I like outdated games. I should have not listened to them. So yeah, I wish I bought it back then. It was so stupid I didn't. Back when it was new, should have done it. I mean, you know, they keep doing these Castlevania collections. I mean, that's something that should end. I feel like that should have been on the Advanced Collection more so than Super Nintendo Dracula X.
Yeah. I'll be
So
curious.
maybe I just say that as someone who has a Super Famicom version of Dracula X, because I don't need it. I think it's a better game than Dracula X, though. Not. I mean,
like messing in my eyes.
I mean, Dracula X is decent. It's better than its reputation, but it's still pretty low-ish tier for Castlevania.
That sand like messes with my eyes.
Yeah. How are your eyes doing?
I mean,
it is pretty trippy actually.
Yeah. My eyes are doing okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty fine like most days. Some days, you know, like they'll kind of get a little dry and itchy, but
yeah. So
like sometimes
well, I mean,
I think about it and I think like, you know, really I just like exchanged one set of problems for another.
Well, yeah.
So
but the visibility is good.
Yeah. I mean, except for when I gotta put my glasses on, makes me feel real old to be like, you know, I want to read something.
Well, hopefully the dry eyes thing goes away.
So,
I mean, I mean,
like
so
this.
I mean,
Nice.
I hear it can last for like a month and a half or something.
Yeah. So I mean, when I do that, when I put my reading glasses on, it instantaneously ages me by at least 15 years. Like, watch. Here I am. Do you see it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you look very distinguished now.
Like,
you look like you look like you belong like at the front of a courtroom.
Yeah, like you know, I'm just like, yeah. Well then, the thing is though, I will tell you that wearing reading glasses like makes reading so much more enjoyable than it's like ever been.
Oh?
Yes. Like it just like makes it so much more enjoyable because it like magnifies the text like like magnifies everything and makes it so that everything beyond that is. I do look like that meme photo of Tommy Lee Jones.
Meme photo of Tommy Lee Jones.
Where he's like looking at the paper. Like look, you gotta look it up.
Oh, is it the one at the end of No Country for Old Men or
I
whatever?
think so. Where he's like has the. It's seriously though. I mean, if anybody's had LASIK and you have to wear reading glasses, I feel like it makes it so much more enjoyable to read because. Like everything else, like all the distractions are out of focus, and you can just like focus on this text that is like actually like big, like it like magnifies it big, you know. It's kind of nice. Like I like it. I mean, even my wife, when we were driving back from Niagara Falls, she was reading her book. Well, you know, like while I was driving, and I'm like, holy cow! Like the text in that book is really big, and she's like, yeah, they have like. Increased like font size books now where you can buy like specific big text versions.
Well, I mean that's been a thing for a long time.
Probably, but I mean like I don't know. Like I never even knew it was a thing until
I mean like my grandma had like stacks and stacks of like the big print version of like I think it was like Reader's Digest or something.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah,
like and
like,
if I remember right, I think they were like black and white, like the covers were black and white, so they were like definitely like they cut some cost. They took some cost cutting corners on it.
If anybody like, I see someone was like using the Popeye face. The Shadow Mask is using the Popeye face, right?
Is that
the sticker?
That's not really the Popeye face.
Oh, that is like the Popeye. That's like the full on Popeye face. Trust me.
The one where you like just have the glasses down or kind of like looking off to the side like that to me is the more Popeye.
Well, what I'm thinking about doing is getting stickers made of that cutout, and people like in the chat, like, is that something that you would like be like, oh, you know, like I would totally buy stickers of that.
I mean, I guess we'd have to figure out an equivalent one for me. Like, I guess it could be like that Game Sack one, you know, the "You're not Coury" face.
Yeah. Or you could just like make some new ones.
Or maybe there's something. Is there something from a more recent episode? I don't know. I mean, making it seems forced. I mean, you were doing yours for B-roll.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like it would be ridiculous enough that people would like. I don't know how effective it is without context.
I mean, I don't think it needs context. It's a great face.
Am I supposed to be throwing him in there?
I mean,
It's not hurting him, so it makes me feel like I'm doing it wrong.
That is weird. Well, there's like a patch on.
I know, but I don't know how to get him like on his. Oh, I bet I can.
Sure,
I wonder if I could pick him up and spin him. I bet I could pick him up. Oh, jeez, it's slowing down.
Speaking of Castlevania stuff, I noticed. I think it was Rears to Blood saying something about the Dead Cells Castlevania, and yeah, I ordered that. It's actually. I ordered it from Best Buy, and it is on its way.
Did you buy the digital version? I mean, probably not.
No.
Of Quake 2? Like that's like a real good deal for. Have you been following that at all?
I mean, I know it's out. I mean, John was talking about it.
Yeah. I helped him like record footage, like multiplayer footage for his
cool
video. He's like, I got an extra review code. Like, you can have it if you help me record multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, of course.
Which version then?
PS5.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. And the fact that it even has like the
N64.
yeah, the
version.
Quake 64 levels.
Well, not. I mean, it's like it doesn't have the whole game, the whole N64 game in it.
Yeah, but it runs in that engine.
Right.
Right. It's not.
But with like I think the N64 textures, right?
Yes.
I mean,
What's really fun
and-
in like certain like aspects of it being like an N64 game, like when you hit the crouch button, it says there's no crouching in Quake 64.
And then like, isn't there like something that was like unreleased or something? Like it sounds extremely extensive in terms of content. But I heard some people were like bad mouthing it because like they got spoiled by the Quake 2 RTX thing.
Oh, I mean,
They're like, oh, this is such a terrible package, it's such a downgrade. And
I don't understand that.
it's like it's first of all like this is a multi-platform release. Like it cannot be the same thing as Quake RTX. Like that's a very PC centric view there. Like I'm really excited about it because I loved the PS5 version of Quake 1 and like the motion control that they added on to that. I thought was great. I'm looking forward to playing Quake 2 with that because you know I have really become a fan of the boomer shooter.
Mm-hmm.
In more recent years. I mean, especially since Night Dive started making them doing such a good job with them and making them very, you know, accessible with good, very accessible with good good settings and stuff and good controller support for you know for consoles. And you know that's
well, so
really made me realize
has that it has like a new expansion in it.
Oh, cool.
I mean, like a new set of levels that were developed by something machine. I can't think of what they're called.
Oh, Machine Games, yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones who did like the Wolfenstein games.
Yeah,
which I think is super cool, and because apparently that's like how they all got like their main start is like making like Quake 2
levels.
So in a way, this is kind of like, you know, like it makes sense for them to do it, but also, you know, it's like probably like fulfilling a dream for them. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really extensive package.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually already ordered the physical copy, so I'll wait for that.
Yeah, I'll do that when probably with Castlevania. I'm trying to be.
Yeah,
like
I that's what I did. I ordered them together.
And like they're sending all these like free shipping coupons now. I'm like, oh, I should really take advantage of those. I've got like a stack of like 3 of them now.
I see Eric in the chat saying Proteus has good 4.3 support for my CRT. Does that apply to the console version? That'd be kind of neat. Because that was actually one of the games I pulled off my shelf to see if I could do anything cool on the Retrode 4K with it. That'd be kind of neat if you can play the 4.3 mode on the PS5 version.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it has some. It's pretty extensive as it is, like just built in. Like I don't know. Like I think that.
Wow, you died and already beat that boss on your second attempt?
And let me continue right there. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
Like I barely like understand this game. Like my mind is only like halfway on like playing it.
yeah. There's
This
no.
always happens
those,
with N64 games, or not with GameCube games that I play them on stream.
Like
Like I
those
always.
colored gnome things make me think of Do Re Mi Fantasy.
Yeah. Can you see like what the how long be? How many worlds are there in this?
I want to say it's only like 4 or 5 worlds, maybe, because I mean you've got that hub area.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes how long to beat isn't very reliable because
No.
people will. I mean, especially for retro games, people are either following guides or they're save scumming or something. But like also just the way that games count time is sometimes very, especially older games, it's very variable. Like I have no idea why we backloggery streams are 4 hours. We
Yeah, there's only 4.
played 4 hours of Lost Kingdoms, and my game time is something like 2 hours and 50 minutes. And the game doesn't like make you reload your file when you die or anything. So obviously there is something in the game that is pretty extensively not not counting, and I don't know what it is.
Whip the boss. Grab red diamonds.
How long to beat seems to think it's like 6.5 hours. So you should finish this after finishing Final Fantasy 16.
We'll see. We will see. I feel like I need to like start like hitting my
getting back to your
yeah. I mean that's
I mean I've not had a lot of time, but I'm like, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours into Nier Automata.
Mm-hmm.
So I am planning to mostly kind of stick to my remaining list between now and the end of the year, because the only games that I'm like even planning to like buy day one and play day one that are like up and coming are Super Mario RPG and Super Mario Wonder. And like other than that, like everything else can wait.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let me look up. Let's see how many worlds are in this.
I think there's 4. It looked like there's only 4 on that map screen. What's next on my 10 game list?
So you've gone to Spooktastic World.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it looks like there are 4 worlds with 3 levels each, and then a final boss.
Okay, so there's not even a final world.
Yeah.
What is next on my list? I mean, it could be Shenmue. I mean, I mainly only have. I mean, outside of The Witcher, like everything else should be like not super. No, I got Last Story. Like in a way, like I kind of. I should probably play Last Story next, because that's like that'd be interesting to see, like after Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah,
Although,
yeah.
Like I'll tell you one thing. If anything, Final Fantasy 16 really just makes me want to play Lost Odyssey.
I could see that. Have you ever played through Lost Odyssey?
But when you think about it, like it's actually kind of similar. Like I played the first like couple hours of Lost Odyssey, and like the intro in that is very similar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It makes you wonder if they were like inspired by that at all.
How much of Lost Odyssey have you played?
I think I played until like the first like heavy reading section, where it's just like a lot of text on a.
Oh yeah, like it's got these like stories that like don't seem too directly related, but like they kind of convey this sort of mood or feeling.
Yeah, it's like 1,000 Years of Dreams or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're actually really good stories.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've heard, and I think that. But when I was doing that, I should. I heard that there's a version of that like in book form. Can you see if that like exists? Like at the 1,000 Years of Dreams, like I'm pretty sure that I've heard that it exists in book form.
You should read it with your reading.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like that sounds like a lot more appealing to me. Is like to actually like turn around and read the book version, like when you get to those parts, right? Like that sounds actually like pretty cool.
I mean, I definitely got to disc 2, and then I like hit a big difficulty spike, and then I just got sidetracked and never got back to it. So I need to restart it. But I really liked what I played. Like Last Story, I think is really excellent. I think that would actually be a really interesting game to follow up Final Fantasy 16. So I think you should do that. And you know, it's not a short game, but it's not like ultra long either. Like I want to say it's 20 some hours.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Last Story, yeah. I see
definitely
Agent Kearney asking if we got the N64 control, the Coury N64 controllers, and we got them like a year ago, 2 years ago maybe.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people have forgotten that we stream because I don't like tweet it and stuff. So I'm trying to change that. Get back to putting out on social media. I mean, is there anybody that's here that hasn't watched in a really long time because they forgot that we were streaming, and maybe came here because of...
Did you show up because Coury raised the signal?
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I mean, most people do seem to just come through YouTube itself, but you know, there might be some people who that's... I mean, I don't use like YouTube subscription notifications or anything like that. Like, I don't use that system. Everyone kind of has their own way of, you know, finding what their content is. Like, usually for me, like, I just like, I just like, well, kind of just look up YouTube channels that I'm like, oh, what have they done? You know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, rather than like being fed it.
I'm just curious because, you know, like last week was the first time that I put the stuff on social media in a very long time.
Yeah.
And I mean,
well,
like part
we
of it was
just
like,
we wanted to advertise it because we thought, well, lots of people want to see the retro things, so we want to make sure they don't miss it.
Exactly. Yes, and that's like the main reason for it for sure. But I'm wondering if there are people that came to the stream and said, "Oh, I forgot that these guys even did this."
Right. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun today, testing out a whole bunch of pixel art games and seeing if I could fix them or improve them. You know, it's so funny because, you know, a lot of them, like what's it called, Astalon?
Yeah.
It's like it's sort of an NES graphicsy kind of game where you like switch between 3 different characters.
Mm-hmm. Does it have bad scaling?
It's got a whole lot of different viewing modes. And yeah, the scaling isn't great if you don't have like any anti-aliasing or any filters on.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny is when you boot up the game, like it starts off on this really, really blurry scaling. And it says like, this is the way the game is meant to be viewed, as if it was on a CRT TV. And I'm just thinking, you don't know what viewing on a CRT TV is. Like, I will show you how to make your own game look like a CRT TV. I have the power now. But what was funny was when you actually had no filters on, the scaling was off just enough to where I couldn't fix it. But then if I turned on one of the anti-aliasing modes, I was then able to fix it. I wasn't able to fix it for like a sharp scale, but I was able to get a really good scan line and CRT, like sort of PVM-esque filter on it. Dementium says, I just finished Astalon. I mean, yeah, just like booting it up definitely kind of made me feel like, oh, I kind of want to play this. It seemed pretty good. I think it might be a Japanese game, or at least it has Japanese, like a Japanese subtitle, like written in Japanese. So that definitely interests me because I feel like so many NES tributes that are often paying tribute to Japanese style games aren't actually Japanese developed. So I'm not sure if that is, but it seems like it might be. There was 10 Canadian from Buddy Scotch. Or wait a second.
I got that one.
Oh, yeah. This list is slow tonight. We already got that one. Yes. There was just now though
Streamlabs?
5 Canadian from D Shamrock.
Thank you.
There's like a number. What does that mean? First super chat?
Are you looking at the stuff on YouTube itself?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know.
It's like a little balloons thing.
Okay, I mean I don't.
Oh, it says celebrate the first super chat from D Shamrock. There you go. I will celebrate. Although I don't know how to celebrate. I will celebrate because I actually have a good answer for your question. Saying I can't calibrate the HDR on my PS5. No matter how I set it up, it always looks very washed out. My Xbox HDR looks great. Is PS5 HDR just bad? Let me look in Discord here because before or the day that Final Fantasy 16 came out, John Linneman messaged me and said, "Hey, I have a tip for you for HDR." Let's see. I actually double checked what the settings were the other day. Let's see. Where would it be? Let's see. Let's see.
If I could like stay in one place and spin around. There should be a spin button. Is there a way to make spin on a button? Probably not.
Okay, here we go. John said to me in Discord, by the way, here's some HDR tips. Before playing, go to the PS5 HDR setup. This was specifically for Final Fantasy 16, but I think this is just good general tips. He said, on the first 2 screens, press down on the D-pad until you hit the bottom. Then count upwards. Press up 11 times on the first 2 calibration screens. Get out your notepad and write this down. On the first 2 screens, press the D-pad down until you hit the bottom. Then count upwards. Count up 11 times. Now on the final screen, don't touch anything. So, unfortunately, of course, I had calibrated before, so I didn't know what don't touch anything was. So I just kind of guessed. I think I counted like 16 steps, so I just put it at like 8. So maybe that would be a good place to start. And then he said, like in the Final Fantasy 16 itself, he said set the brightness slider to 3 and use the dynamic tone mapping on the TV instead of HDIG, specifically because I think Final Fantasy 16 can be a little dark and dull in a lot of places. But he said he doesn't really see any downside to using the dynamic tone mapping. The HDIG is, I think, a little more of a proper standard. But the dynamic tone mapping, I actually noticed kind of I'd always been kind of afraid of it because I thought like, what if you see like between like gameplay and menus, or what if you see it like actually shift like the brightness or tone or something, like if it's doing
like what if that happened?
I would be distracted as what if.
Oh, okay.
But I played Final Fantasy 16 that way. I did not notice any issues using dynamic tone mapping. However, with the RetroTink 4K, I actually did notice issues with dynamic tone mapping because, it's injecting HDR into the signal, right?
Yeah.
And then you bring up that RetroTink menu. I was like trying to, figure out like how many nits I want to use for like, a non-HDR game. And I would bring up the menu and I would notice like, wait, the game looks a lot duller now. Then I would close the menu and would kind of gradually brighten up. And I was like, oh no. Well, now that I've seen it, now that I've noticed it, like dynamic tone mapping's ruined for me. I gotta go back to HDIG. But it makes you wonder, maybe you should get, so I haven't watched one of his videos in a while because I haven't really watched one since I was, in the market for an upgrade last year, right? And I ended up with the C1. But the Vincent that does the HDTV tests or whatever the channel is called. He always says that you want to, kind of go at least some steps beyond where it tells you to go in terms of like brightness, because you're actually leaving a lot of maximum brightness, kind of on the table. But for me personally, like I've never noticed Xbox HDR being better than PlayStation HDR. I mean, I guess it could depend on the game. Like some games just have bad HDR. Like all of the games from Supermassive Games, like the Dark Pictures Anthology and the Coury, all of them have like the worst HDR I've ever seen. It's extremely dark. Because their games are the Dark Pictures, but it's true. It's very dark.
But hearing this kind of stuff, okay, like this is like the kind of thing that like really scares me. Like changing HDR modes, like on your TV, like that's just it feels like it's like there's like zero chance that I'm going to like change the settings on my TV like per game.
Oh well, but there's only 3 settings, and really only 2. I mean, one of the settings is off, so like like John was saying, he always uses the dynamic.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I have, so I mean
right.
I have it on.
So, but like I've kind of gone back to the HGIG since using the RetroTink, just because I noticed that issue when you bring up the menu, like the image content changes, right? So it kind of dynamically changed how it was displayed. That menu was kind of, I think, if you're in a game, you're not going to notice. You're not going to notice issues. So
it's just a slippery slope, and like I don't know if I can follow. Like it's like it I don't know how long it will be before it's like a bridge too far, because there's like no desire inside me to like change things. Like it's the same reason I don't use like the like the black frame insertion, because I'm not going to sit there and go through like 4 menus to change it, like depending on the frame rate of the game that I'm playing. Like it just I just like it's
really accessible on my TV.
Mm-hmm. If I could attach it to like one of those shortcut buttons, which like on the C8 and probably several other ones, like you can't do anything with those buttons. That's what's so annoying.
You can customize buttons on the C1, but the problem is if you're using the game optimizer, you don't get those buttons. But I'm actually thinking of like turning the game optimizer off. I was thinking about that recently because, you can be in game optimizer mode but not use the game optimizer menu, which is actually kind of slow and laggy anyway. You still get the benefits of low lag and stuff like that. So I was thinking about disabling the game optimizer menu because I turned it on at first because I thought, I might use things in here, but the only thing I even use in there is black frame insertion. So I might just turn off the game optimizer menu and then add black frame insertion to the quick select, and that might actually be an even faster way to turn it on.
I don't know. I wonder if people will be like, listen, I don't think I can listen to this guy anymore because he's not like willing to like do what it takes to get the absolute best experience like from these games. Like I'm no longer. You know,
I mean, we do generic 4.3 on the OSSC and the RetroTink 5X, right?
Right.
But you know,
and that's because I don't want to change anything.
Yeah, well, but the RetroTink 4K, I mean, yeah, we do that because, like, you know, like it's, I think, well, and there's also reasons beyond that it's easiest. It's also just like you're never wrong if you use generic 4.3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you use an optimized mode, but it turns out that there was like an issue that you didn't see before recording your footage, then you've got like, you know, these flickering pixels in your footage, right? So I'm always kind of afraid to use those. But on the RetroTink 4K, you know, profiles are so easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having a lot of fun making like the different profiles anyway, like for, you know, some of these like modern pixel games and stuff. So, you know, I definitely think it's worth, you know, changing things on there, but you know, I like to optimize the console experience within reason. You know, I mean, there's definitely, you know, PC gaming turns me off because it could just be it's just an infinite cycle, right?
Yeah.
Of chasing that, you know, just a little bit better. And even with video scalers, I feel like on console at least, there's only so much you can do. You know, you don't have to do that much more to optimize the experience. And in my opinion, you know, a lot of people think like, oh, well, that's a big pain. You know, PC gaming is nowhere near as big of a pain as what you do. But you know, it's what you're interested in. It's what you're used to. But you know, it's. I like optimizing within reason. You know, at least on a console though, like there is like an acceptance, like this, like okay, like this is as good as it can be. Now I'm gonna play the game. You know.
Yeah.
On PC, you just go on and on and on and on. You know, when I you know spent an entire day trying to tweak Skyrim instead of actually playing it, that was like kind of the big wake up call for me. I'm just like, man, I feel really bad that I wasted my whole day, you know, not just playing the game.
Yeah. I mean, I just have that with like other stuff. I mean,
well, there was I missed a couple things. I apologize. There was a $5 super chat with no comment from Mega X6. Thank you as always. And then there was, I believe these must be 50. I don't know what the currency in the Philippines is, but it was from 123 Go Retro. Saying, hey guys, watching from the Philippines.
oh,
That's awesome. I assume
really
it must be like daytime there. Like you're like a day ahead of us. Awesome. Thanks for joining.
yeah. I hear that name. I hear 123 Juan 23, and for like,
Well,
is anybody else?
it was like JUAN 23.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. It's like, but when I hear anything like 1 2 3, like I can't not think of the first stage music from Viewpoint. Does anyone else feel that? Viewpoint, the Neo Geo
What's
isometric
Viewpoint?
shooter,
Oh.
where it says 1 2 3, hit it, and the music kicks in.
And there was also $5 super chat from good old Jonathan Henson. Thank you. Saying, God forbid a disaster wipes out your collection. You're gifted a RetroTink 4K. How do you rebuild? OEM, FPGA plus modern generation. God tier PC for modern plus emulation.
I just do Mister and call it a day. Like that's. Just...
I would probably just do Mister as well. I would probably do Mister. I would do Mister for retro, and then I'd buy like a Switch and a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have a whole lot that I could play on the Switch and PS5. I would probably like from that point on, I would probably like on modern consoles, I would probably really only like buy like things that I'm ultra interested in.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, do you feel like if that was to happen, like if that was to happen, it'd be horrible. But at the same time, do you feel like you almost would be kind of like, I can like start my backlog over again and just like,
well, yeah,
that would be kind of fun. It's just like just only buying games that you're gonna play through like right away.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And you know, I could, if that did happen, I could see myself like potentially even going like a largely digital route. I wouldn't want it to have to come to that, but you know, I can understand why, you know, people would go that route in some situations. Especially because you've, you know, just come off of this traumatic situation where a disaster wipes out your collection. Well, you know, that makes you, you know, second guess the physical thing, right? So I could see going digital, but I still just have a really hard time stomaching the idea of spending more than $30, maybe $40 on digital game.
Yeah.
I would do it very infrequently. I mean, as it is, like even for physical games, I've only bought $70 games at $70 a handful of times.
So it only costs 200 coins to continue, and I have 5,000 coins. And you also like just pick up exactly where you're at, which seems like really forgiving. It's not like you gotta do a level over again or anything. You just like start immediately. Like you may as well just have unlimited continues.
I mean, maybe the cost goes up later in the game.
Maybe, or I mean, people in the chat that have played this, is it also like considered to be like real easy just in general? Like it's short, but is it also super easy?
Huh. BS Cartoon says, Wario World is so much fun. I want to beat the game, but my copy no longer reads at the start of World 4.
Weird.
That's weird that it'd be like in such a specific spot. Well, I mean, I guess it's not that weird, but definitely unfortunate. You know, I have never had a problem with my GameCubes, but you know, I have a copy of Mega Man X Command Mission, which I've not played other than just briefly booting it up.
Yeah.
And it won't read. I want to say I tried booting it up in both of my GameCubes, and I don't think it would read in either, but it reads in a Wii.
That's weird. I mean, you could just use you have a GC loader. You could use
yeah. I have a third GameCube with a GC loader, so I could just do that, but I don't tend to. I've not used it a whole lot.
I need to keep these up as VODs. Yeah, they're gonna be. I mean, from now on, like I'm slowly moving through all the previous streams and adding them to like that list.
To be clear, always have had them available on a public playlist on
Yes.
the front of the channel. But we just like this past week started publishing them live because we have a separate live tab. You didn't used to have that where you know, if you made your streams public, they would be mixed in with your edited uploads.
Yeah,
And we
which is
didn't
not
want
what we
that.
want. We want them to be separate.
We wanted them to be separate, but now there's a separate live tab. So they are going to be made public going forward.
Yeah, it's just the process. And I mean, like I said earlier, we have 415 streams. Well, 416 after tonight.
Wow. What percentage have been made public?
I want to say maybe like 130 of them probably.
So you're just going through a few a day.
Yeah, like when I got some time to do, because I'm tidying up like the stream names. Like I'm getting rid of the date that was like in the stream
Right.
names, because
Tidying it up.
what's that?
Tidying it up.
Yeah, but you know, you can say like, oh, this was created on this day, so that people already know. Just, you know, like it's just on that information's already on there, and it just like makes the file name or the stream name like way too long. So I'm just going through and doing that, and just like I said, it just takes a minute. I do a few when I have my coffee each morning.
SNK Nostalgia says, fix your GameCube, turn the pot for the disk drive counterclockwise a smidge. Is that like, you have to open up the system to see that? It's not visible just from looking inside? I've never noticed it. It says, the laser on GameCube just weakens over time. Terrible lens design. I mean, it's also a system I've generally not had trouble with. I mean, PS2 seems to me to be a much more common system to have, at least in my experience, to have lens issues. You know, I don't know if maybe a lot of GameCubes were mistreated since it was like kind of considered a kids console back in the day.
I always thought it was supposed to be
I
like,
didn't consider that because I was in high school and when it came out, and then college for most of the generation.
At that point, I had moved beyond the shackles of like, oh, is this game too kiddie? I didn't play Pokemon because it just didn't interest me at the time. And
yeah, I mean, I am not embarrassed to publicly play,
yeah,
a good game, no matter whether it looks like it was for kids or not.
yes,
But there was a little bit of that self-consciousness, when you're growing up. Like I was, when Pokemon first came out, I was like very borderline, like the age group that would get into it. I mean, nowadays that like Pokemon has existed for, people's entire lives. Like I think it's, it's not weird for people to like Pokemon just through elementary and middle and high school and stuff like that. I don't know, but I'm assuming that it's pretty normal for people to be into it all that time. And also people know what Pokemon is, right? But like when it first came out, normal people didn't understand that it was like a video game first. And people just saw as like, oh, it's this big new kids thing that they're marketing like crazy.
yeah.
people didn't understand that it was a video game first. And like, I was never afraid of I was never ashamed of like something cute like Kirby, because like it was a video game first, right? But people didn't understand that Pokemon was a video game first. Like they just like, oh, he's this big annoying kids thing it's everywhere. People were annoyed by it because it was just so pervasive, right?
Yeah.
And like, I only had like at that time like two friends that were like really, into games and like understood that. And of course they played Pokemon. But, my other friends at school, in fact, my gaming friends were, they didn't even go to my school. Like my friends at my school, like, they would play games, but they weren't, crazy into it, right?
Right.
And so whenever they came over, I mean, this is, middle school, high school. Like I always hid my Pokemon cartridge somewhere because it's like, I didn't want to have to explain like what this is. Like, look, this is not the kids thing that you think it is. But that's like the only thing that I was ever like a little self-conscious about. But you wouldn't even need to be that way today. But it was such a new thing that people didn't understand. Right?
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
And I was the right age to be a little embarrassed about it, but we're too old to be embarrassed now. We've put too much of ourselves out there to be embarrassed by anything.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always tell my kids though, like I said, when I was your age in school, like playing games, it wasn't like cool. Like all these kids like play games and just like talk about it constantly.
Yeah.
And I say like when I was your age, like I had a core group of friends that I played games with, but it's not like something you could just like literally talk to anybody about.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was very weird. Like most kids probably had like a game system, but it wasn't one of their main passions, right?
No, it was just
like being like really into games was very strange. It was considered very strange. You were an outcast for being really into games.
Yeah. Try the other side of that bouncy claw thing. Oh, okay. Oh, I get you. Thanks. The Thubs like help me out here. Thank you so much. I love that name, Thub. Thubs. Thubbo.
Like Bubbo.
Yeah, like Bubbo with Thub. Thubbo. Love it.
But yeah, I mean, as someone who, doesn't have kids, I don't have a lot of insight into that either. Like, like what, like, is it still weird to just be into video games in general? Like, are you a weirdo if you're just like into all games, or like you're only normal if the only thing you play is Fortnite and Minecraft, or
I mean, I don't know,
Roblox?
like, I don't think so. I think that there's like so many options for kids now that it's like not even something. I don't think that anybody is like looked down on for like
being a gamer,
like, or for I kind of hate that name or that term.
Right. Well, I mean, because everyone is now.
Yeah, but
back then,
Yeah, I mean, I've always just said, like, I'm someone who enjoys playing games.
We are the video game playing public.
Yes.
There was a $4.99 from John H. Thank you. Saying, is it worth it to HDMI mod original hardware or use analog inputs with the Retrode 4K? Or just go with Mr. and Retrode 4K for OLED and use original hardware on CRT? I mean, it's, I'd say that's up to you, that judgment. I am going to be enjoying using HDMI modded stuff with the Retrode 4K specifically because I stream, right? Um, because I want to be able to send like a high quality pre-upscaled image to my capture card that will look good and clean on stream, because like CRT effects and stuff like that won't look clean on stream. But I want to see those CRT effects, so I'm going to then run the other output through the Retrode 4K for my TV.
So, but I mean, I think he's talking about like things that like have like the pixel effects mods and stuff.
Like, well, that is what I'm talking about.
So you foresee yourself just like you're gonna use it in the 4K like on your OLED and play like with the CRT filters on?
Absolutely, 100%. I've been looking forward to that for a long time.
But I mean, does that mean you're like kind of done with like just like playing on CRTs like in general then?
Oh no, but no. I mean, but that's a separate setup. No, but you know, if I did want to play one of those systems, or if I was playing the Mister, or if I was playing, you know, like these, you know, pixel art games that I've been spending time on making profiles that work for those, or retro emulated collection. But no, absolutely, I'm going to keep playing on my PVMs.
Okay, I mean that's what I was saying. Like, you know, like using like.
Yeah, it's for me. It's not a replacement. It's not a replacement for that.
Right.
But you know, we're also like crazy and have like, you know, kind of a lot of stuff going on with our setup, and a lot of, you know, you know, it's part of what we do to show like different kinds of video quality. So it makes sense for us to have like kind of this absurd amount of, you know, different methods. So it certainly wouldn't appeal to everyone like John H., who asked the question necessarily. But you know, and I actually haven't even done that much analog stuff with it yet, you know, aside from some of the stuff that I showed like on the stream last week. So it's really tough to say, you know, like for each use case. But like I definitely think Mister is a really good use case with it. I mean, I'm going to go through all this stuff and show how, you know, I'm planning to use it and stuff like in the preview video that I'm working on. So I would say, you know, watch that and, you know, kind of get an idea of, you know, if what I'm showing there, just in terms of like, especially the HDMI stuff, if that seems really useful to you or interesting to you, or if you would rather just stick with, you know, the analog inputs, or you could use Mister with the analog inputs. I mean, there's They're basically like, I mean, you know, so far it's so good that there's like almost no way to go wrong with it, whether you're like your main stuff is HDMI, or if it's RGB, or if it's component, or if you're the D sub or HD 15 or whatever you call it, the VGA input. There's just so many ways to approach it that it's like, I mean, I think that's why, you know, Mike included all inputs on one device, is because, you know, it's meant to accommodate almost any possible need, right? Just out of the box. So, there's just so many. I mean, all the, you know, I mean, Mike said that there's been 10 prototypes made so far.
Right.
And, you know, I've been talking to several of the people that have also had it, and everyone kind of has a different interest and different focus, right?
Yeah.
We're all like kind of testing different things and setting up different types of profiles just based on what strikes our interest. So I guess that's my point, is like it's so flexible. There's so many interesting things you can do no matter how you prefer to connect the system, or no matter how much you prefer original hardware, or Mister, or just even software emulation boxes. So it's I really can't give a clear answer to that, but I do think HDMI modded consoles will be very interesting in it. But certainly not critical unless you're really into it also, I guess, depends on how interested you are in like CRT effects versus ultra sharp clean pixels to some extent.
Right.
But Firebrand X is making some really good profiles that kind of minimize the impacts of analog video noise. It's pretty impressive. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I honestly don't know what to tell you. Maybe you'll see a little more detail in the preview video in a couple of weeks. That will kind of maybe give some insight that would help you learn, or help you decide what what route you want to take. Yeah, and other people are going to be doing videos, I'm sure, because people are pointing out, Bob has one, Firebrand X has one, GameSack has one, John Linneman has one, Voltar has one, Wobbling Pixels.
There we go. I almost feel like these levels, it just feels like nonsense.
Are the CRT filters HDR? I mean, you can output HDR. I mean, the filters aren't inherently HDR. But, I think turning on HDR makes them look a lot more effective, because you've canceled out the darkening effect that, kind of masking up the screen and scan lines and stuff like that. The stuff that kind of adds to it. So we post our CRT setups on the MLiG Discord. I mean, not as like a regular course of action. I mean, we post whatever we feel like there. But I mean, obviously that kind of stuff will be seen in our updated tour videos when we do those. Those floating rhino head ghosts were weird.
What?
Those floating rhino head ghosts.
Yeah.
Do you feel like everything about this game is just like a blur to you, just like a fever dream?
Yeah, like it just feels like they're just like every day they're just doing whatever they felt like. They had different ideas every day. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's like a great game. For sure. Like, I just can't really.
It seems like a good game to kind of just shut off your brain. Yeah. Although there are like puzzles you have to figure out.
Yes. Come on.
I mean, it's generally not considered like a great game, but there's definitely people who I see give it some love. what we might have called a good rental back in the day.
Yeah. Or is it? God. There we go. Okay.
Minson Dubois says, I feel like this game is better than the Wario Land games, but it's too short. I don't know about that. I mean, I really like Wario Land 1 and 4 quite a lot. I think they're really, really good. Wario Land 2 and 3 I don't love as much. I think Wario
It doesn't
Land
seem
1
big
and 4
enough to like warrant
pretty
the moniker world. Like I feel like in a
yeah,
lot of ways like it feels smaller than the other games.
yeah, absolutely.
And
I
usually,
mean,
you know, when games like use like the word world,
it's like the
ooh,
biggest one yet.
Yeah, it's like that is bigger than like land.
Right.
So I think that makes this feel kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I was always wondering, like, where can Mario go after they go to Galaxy, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't.
But
I don't
then
know
with
if
Odyssey, and like, it was like a smaller scope, but it also felt very big.
Yeah. I mean, you
So
could say, oh,
they did a good job kind of sidestepping there.
Yeah. I mean, part of me would say, oh, they would have said Frontier, but now they can't.
Yeah.
Because of Sonic. Like, I feel like Super Mario Frontier would be kind of a good name.
Yeah.
But it's...
I kind of want to, I helped John capture some footage for Sonic Frontiers. He got me access to the Xbox version to help him capture a few different versions, and I kind of want to give that game a chance someday. Like it seems interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun just wandering around in the fields.
But for about like $20.
Well, yeah, sure. I'll definitely keep an eye out for a decent PS5 version deal, like Black Friday or whatever. I mean, I think it was discount pretty heavily, pretty early. When did that come out? Was that?
It came out like last December, I think, or like
last
November.
December or November or something like.
It was like heavily discounted, like a ton, like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it has been like really that much since.
Interesting.
Wonderful. I mean, it does feel like they were having like no fun making this game.
No fun?
It doesn't feel like they were having very much fun making this game.
What makes you think that?
I don't know. There's something about it where it just does not.
I mean, it's so bizarre. So I mean, I don't know. Seems like a fun game to make. I mean, how could you not have fun?
You know what?
Like making something about someone as ridiculous as Wario.
I guess BitRose understands, and I agree. It feels like I don't know. There's something about it just like feels like. Ooh, you can do like a spinning power driver? That's new. Look at this. That's like amazing. You don't even have to spin them to kill them then.
Oh.
Dude, you
So
can
now
kill
all of a
like
sudden, do you
I'm
think
just
they did have
wasting
fun
these guys
making this
now. It saves so much time.
Hardcore says Nintendo was pretty weak during the GameCube era. I actually kind of agree, and I feel like that's not a popular opinion. I'm guessing Hardcore might not agree with this, but you know, I've often said, like, I think the Wii era of Nintendo is much more interesting than the GameCube era. Like, I think they were struggling to figure out like their identity during the GameCube era. There's definitely a lot of great games, you know. Zelda and Metroid were better overall in the GameCube era than the Wii era. But otherwise, almost every Nintendo series was better on the Wii. And, you know, people just think of the Wii as like, you know, the blue ocean or whatever, and just like the expanded audience type stuff. And it's so much more than that. Like, I feel like Nintendo actually got like more in tune with their I feel like Nintendo got more in tune with their roots in a lot of ways during the Wii era, because you've got stuff like, you know, you've got stuff like Punch Out, and you know, you've got 2D Mario coming back to consoles, even though, you know, yeah, I know new Super Mario Brothers not that exciting, but you know, it wasn't overdone at that point, you know, because it was only the second of those. And you know, Mario Galaxy, you know, big step up from Sunshine. You know, I really think Nintendo like really embraced their classic franchises. Kirby came back in an amazing way. Yeah, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door definitely better than Super Paper Mario. Super Paper Mario is pretty weak. But yeah, I mean, of course you've got stuff like, you know, Pikmin, F-Zero GX, yes, Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance. I do like that more than Radiant Dawn. I mean, I'm not saying the GameCube doesn't have some amazing stuff, but of course, you know, you look at stuff like, you know, F-Zero GX, and of course that was,
yeah,
that was, you know, Sega, really. I'm not saying that the GameCube's part of my thing with GameCube. This is what I always say about GameCube. Like, I kept up with GameCube during its day. It was my main system. You know, I had a PS2, but I bought more GameCube games. And so, as a, you know, retro enthusiast, GameCube has been very boring for me.
That's how you get
in the years since, because it was very been there, done that. Like, I would say at most like a quarter of my GameCube collection is something that I bought after the day, because I bought most of the good stuff like when it came out.
I should change the side.
Well, like, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, of course there's lots of examples of Nintendo being amazing during the GameCube era. Lots of examples, of course. But I feel like, you know, it was the Wii that kind of forced Nintendo to really, I think, hone in on developing the art style that they still kind of use to this day, because they really became much more effective, I would say, during the Wii era at creating very good looking visual design for their games on lower powered hardware, right? On the GameCube era, you know, the GameCube was as powerful roughly as anything else. On the Wii, that was not the case, and they really had to sort of hone in their art style. And to this day, Nintendo's art style, I think, was really born of the Wii era. And I think Nintendo is very talented at making very visually appealing, just generally aesthetically appealing games on lower powered hardware. And so I think there's a lot of really good stuff on the Wii, but you know, people just are, you know, I don't know. It could have just been the era that the age I was when the GameCube was out. Like, again, I considered it my main system, but if you were, 4 years younger than me, I could see the GameCube having a much larger impact, because the GameCube for you would be what the N64 is for me, which I am obviously highly passionate about. And I don't think that Wii controls are as problematic as people make them out to be. I mean, there's lots of options to play them without waggle controls. The best games tended to not focus on waggle so much anyway, as much as like pointer controls, which were amazing. And still remains the only system to do that kind of pointing that effectively. I mean, you can kind of do it on the Switch. And you've got some motion aiming stuff, on.
See, I mean, like pointing stuff like does nothing. Zilch for me. It's always been inconvenient.
Oh yeah. Sin and Punishment 2 is amazing. Incredible.
I would be very interested in playing that though with a twin stick style setup.
What, Sin and Punishment?
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I feel like it would probably could be made to be pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure it would be good, but I mean, Wii pointing is still to this day extremely accurate. But I know that's not a popular opinion, but I think the Wii is actually a pretty darn interesting system. I think it is underrated by the gaming public.
I'm doing this right. No!
Oh, I don't like that clown without the hat.
Yeah. Like what? Like there's a lot of like creepy aspects of this game. It's weird.
I mean, Treasure has always had a very strange sense of character design. That's for sure. Yes, thank you, Junko. Mario Kart Wii greater than Double Dash. I learned several years ago that apparently Mario Kart Wii is like widely considered like one of the worst, and that was like for like being in the backloggery crew, that was our favorite. Like we played so much online of that. We loved the bikes. The bikes feel really great in that. Double Dash, I like. I have a harder time going back to it though than a lot of other Mario Karts. Mostly because it was kind of, to me, Double Dash was kind of like the first modern Mario Kart. Like, it established what Mario Kart has become ever since, right? Like, just the feel of the game and everything. And so I actually have an easier time going back to, like, Mario Kart 64 than I have going back to Double Dash. Because, now I'm used to Mario Kart 8, right? And Double Dash is like similar enough to the current Mario Karts, but also different enough that it really throws me off. If that makes sense. Like a game that is more different in how it feels, like Mario Kart 64, the newer Mario Karts like don't overwrite my muscle memory. But like between Double Dash and Mario Kart 8, they're all so sort of similar.
Look at how like crisp, high resolution the textures on these dragons. It just like looks really crisp.
What looks really crisp?
Like their like texture. Like the whatever, like the bump mapping on them makes them look.
The dragons?
Yeah. Did you see the donation from SNK Nostalgia? Did you?
I did not. I apologize for that. Thank you. That was a $2 super chat saying, have you guys heard of gaming tech for HDR settings? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is that like a YouTube channel, or is that
If it's like,
is that like a tool for calibration or something? I am not aware. Perhaps I should Google gaming tech HDR.
it's channel.
Real-time HD. Well, there is a YouTube channel, Gaming Tech. It says real-time HDR analyzing tool for PS5, Xbox, PC. Okay, it's a channel. Yeah, see, there's a guy talking. I've got muted.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing here. I can knock him over, but then
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I mean, I am not, like a super stickler for like color space and exact specifications. In fact, like I really hate the warm white balance that's like intended for like Dolby Vision. Like I like neutral white balance, which sometimes, depending on the TV, can actually, to my eyes, what looks like white, it sometimes is considered a cooler white balance. And it depends on the TV. Like on the C7 and the C2, what looked white to me was one of the cooler settings. On the C1, the neutral setting looks correct to me, and the cool settings look too cool. I something about warm white balance is like nails on a chalkboard to my eyes, and that's why I like have such a visceral reaction to when I see that orange nighttime thing that you and a lot of people put on their phones and their computers. Like it's serious. Like I don't know, something about. I mean, and of course that's extreme. That's an extreme example. But warm white balance starts to creep in that direction, and I'm thinking about it right now, and I feel like a little like tingle in my neck. Like I do not like the look of, I mean, a slightly warm white balance is okay, but like the first time you turn on Dolby Vision on a TV that you haven't changed your settings on that input or whatever. I can't stand. I can't stand the white balance that is on Dolby Vision by default. I can't stand it. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I do not like it. Because that's not what white is to me. I want white to look like white. And to me, that tends to be on the cool-ish side sometimes. But I just, I go with neutral on the C1 because that looks correct to me.
I like on my settings, I keep my white balance at like it's like recommended to go real high for the warm, but I feel like I like it most at like warm 5. Just like
I mean, I like, the thing is, I like mid-tone colors to feel warm. I like that, but I want white to not feel warm.
Right.
But like
I think
mid-tone
that
colors,
people,
I love seeing warmth on mid-tone colors. But
I think
like
that what happens though is I think a lot of people might see, like I saw someone, and it probably had to do with your white balance on your camera and the changing scene. Like last week, someone's like, "Oh, your whites are blue," so you have it.
oh
Like,
well, last week I had to use a webcam because I was using
no, what you're like pointing at your TV.
Oh well, and I actually made really changed my white balance to try to not make it too cool because I didn't want it to be too cool. But I saw Henry Clark say, "Try you like me and hate 2700K yellow traditional light bulbs? Give me that 7400 white TV or lights." I mean, I do like warm light bulbs. Like in my living room, and I've got a warm light bulb and like a very like traditional old school lamp, both in my living room and here in my office. But then I've got like these lights that I turn on just for webcam purposes. They are cool bulbs. I have cool lights like up here in what I consider my office. I have warm light, white lights in there. I have white light in the kitchen. But like, and more like, but normally I don't like to have a lot of light on just inside in general. I do like just like one warm light on is like kind of what I like to have on in a room. Like normally just like one, but not like an ultra warm. Like 2700 sounds too warm to me. I think I want to say, I don't know. I want to say the bulbs I usually use are more like 35, but I'm not sure to tell you the truth.
I mean, like when you talk about like, oh, I can't stand it when the screens do it. Like it when I'm like doing anything that I really like require like color from or anything like that, or I want it to, like, I need it to be correct. Like I don't use it, but the only time I use it is like at like 9:00. Like the colors on my phone and on my monitor will get.
I find it to be very hard to look at.
Well, you're probably just. I mean,
I'm not used to it. And I don't want to be used to it. I don't want to live in that world.
I'll tell you one thing is like since I started doing it, I sleep a lot better.
For me, I guarantee there is no impact on that.
You might be surprised. I mean, that's kind of the whole point.
Well, I also don't like take my phone to bed like most people do. So.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I like it like if I'm winding down for the night, and maybe I'm just like.
Well, sure, I do that too. But like, I feel like looking at the screen with normal colors can wear me out just fine. I think if the screen had if the screen had an orange tint to it, it would make me tired, but just because it depressed me.
Okay.
Those things slide down the mountain are really ugly. But yeah, I mean, all the love in the world to the people who do use that. It is not for me. Is like I'm not kidding. Like it's just like nails on. Looking at it is like nails on the visual equivalent of nails on a chalkboard. I cannot stand it.
I feel like the whole point of like this game is like it's just to tank through everything. Like you just basically tank through everything.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make it so easy to. I'm looking if anybody feels the same way about like warm, like what is it called? Night shift. That's called on Windows, I think. I'm just seeing if I'm the only one that feels that way.
Well, it's become extremely popular. I feel like I'm an outlier.
I'm just saying, like, I'm in terms of like in this chat right now. If everyone thinks that I'm crazy for
no. I think a lot of people. I think most people think I'm crazy. I mean, I see Chris V said that I like things that are their real color instead of a yellow version of that color. Chris V also says I have 500K light bulbs everywhere in my house. I mean, I like warm lights for my living space. Like that feels comfy and warm to me. Like that feels like home, right? Like not like a weirdly overly yellow bulb or anything, but just like a normal indoor light bulb tone. That feels comfy and home-like to me. But I don't want it on my screen.
What am I supposed to do here?
But video lights, are typically cool lights.
Oh yeah.
But then, Kento Zero's with you because he says, I used to stay up until 3 a.m. on the laptop for years before the screen temp programs came out.
It's 10:55. Should I, I just started this new world. Should I, load
Yeah,
something
there's
else
no
up
point
on the old GC loader?
Are you on GC Loader?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, maybe you should pop in a disc you've never popped in before. But you could play a GameCube game you've never played before, never booted before. There was a $5 super chat from Dad1153. Thank you. Saying, got this F-Zero GX / Wave Race Blue, I assume Blue Storm, new in 04 for $5 each. Coury, put glasses halfway on, speak to the camera in a snooty Masterpiece Theater voice. Your reading glasses. Yes, I do believe
can someone...
People who made Wario World were having no fun at all.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, quite. I do believe in the 5 minutes before 11 o'clock that you should boot up something else in the old GC loader.
Really return to the title screen? Okay. Okay? Really? Well, all right then. We'll return to the title screen. And just like that, we were done with Wario World for the night. Let me find something else here. How about Virtua Quest? So what we got
Was
here.
trying just doing a Richard Ledbetter impression? That was not Richard. My generic snooty British voice is not Richard Ledbetter.
You know what's funny though is whenever I'm sitting there, if I'm playing Final Fantasy and I'm looking at something on my phone, I'll do this, and then when I start playing, I just put my glasses up like this. I find myself walking around suddenly and realize that I have my glasses up like this on my head.
Oh,
this.
See, I could never do that because I feel like you would get greasy spots on the glasses.
Well, you know what?
I cannot tolerate smudges on my glasses. Just like I cannot tolerate the orangening of a screen.
Should I play some Top Angler?
Heck yeah, why not?
How about I just want to play something that I would never in a million years play.
What the heck is Trigger Man?
I mean, how about just something we've never heard of? How about Space Raiders? You ever heard of Space Raiders?
I've never heard of Space Raiders. Let's see what it is. There was a $5 super chat from DT Playthroughs. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Saying it seems the videos from the past few years
Thank you.
no longer on the MLiG archive playlist. Maybe already covered tonight, but wanted to mention in case not. Much love. Are they automatically removed from the playlist when you've made them public?
I've been making them. I've been removing them from the playlist as I make them public.
Okay, so to clarify,
So I'm gonna co-op that playlist to be like Twitch stream archives.
Oh, I mean, not that we have a lot of that.
I know. I was thinking about just adding that to like the bonus material playlist, anyways.
I see, that makes sense. Yeah. So to be clear, we are in the process of moving stream archives from the stream archive playlist into, if you go to the front channel of the page, there's a live tab now.
Yes.
You can view them in there. So they aren't being deleted or anything. We are in the process of moving them over.
Am I playing Space Raiders? I'm gonna just try Space.
I thought you were playing Space Raiders. What are you waiting for?
The fate of the Earth is in your hands. Invaders from outer space are attacking.
Oh, you should play. Is
Sphinx?
Darkened Sky the Skittles game? I kind of want. I've always kind of wanted to get that just because it's such a dumb idea. I bet it's expensive. I'm going to look up how much it is on eBay.
Look at that! Look at that Mastiff logo.
It's not cheap, but it's not as bad as
Taito. So is it a Space Invaders game? It's Taito.
It's like $40-$50. It's not that bad.
What, Space Raiders?
No, I was looking up Darkened Sky. See how expensive the Skittles game is.
Look at this dude.
I'm waiting to see what dude I'm looking at. There are multiple dudes.
I know. The guy in the middle. It's a remake of Space Invaders. Interesting.
Is it only on GameCube? Surely not. What was it called? Space Raiders?
Yeah.
Well, there appears to be a 1983 film called Space Raiders.
Yeah.
There's also a snack food called Space Raiders. Space Raiders are a British brand of corn and wheat snacks made by KP Snacks. Introduced in 1987, the alien-shaped snacks are currently available in beef, pickled onion, saucy barbecue, and spicy flavors. I don't know how I feel about the idea of beef-flavored corn snacks. But they do indeed look like puffed corn alien faces.
Look at this.
That book loading is that book is a weird loading thing. Oh, this looks awesome. What a cool idea.
Yeah. Just like dual wielding these handguns too.
Yeah, Bobby, it's Space Invaders, dive. But like on ground level.
This is why we do stuff like this.
I mean, this looks great. If you were demoing this on a TV in a game store, and that game store had Space Raiders, I would be like, I'm buying this. Like, this looks great. Apparently, it's also on PS2. Let's see.
Or you can dodge through them. There's a whole story mode to it.
This came out in 2002. Wow.
It does look like a Dreamcast game. It totally looks like a Dreamcast game. And that's not a bad thing.
No. Oh, weird. According to Wikipedia, they're only listing Japanese and PAL release dates for the PS2 version.
Oh, okay.
And they're only showing Japanese and North American release dates for the GameCube version. So,
is it expensive? If you look at
I wonder if it's not. I mean, some people are saying they have it on PS2,
I'm gonna try it.
but I don't know if there's an American PS2 version.
I don't know. I feel like the story mode has potential. This mode follows the story.
I'm gonna look on eBay.
I'm gonna try Naji this time. Yeah, I mean
there's a brand new copy for almost $70. It actually looks like it looks like it's like $20 to $30.
Okay.
I could be into that.
Ooh, I got like satellites.
Actually, there's several that are even cheaper than that. I'm pretty into
Like options. Oh, I can shoot. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that.
Hmm?
Oh, that's cool. You can shoot.
I don't understand.
You can shoot the satellites, and it like shoots across. And
It's like auto aiming too. That's cool.
yeah, you can. He has 2 player. It can be 2 players also.
Have a small play field for 2 players though.
Well, this is only the first area. Like, I wonder if they get bigger.
Yeah,
I mean, it's cool. It's clear that they had like an idea.
Yeah.
Somebody had an idea and like, well, let's just do it.
Like, what if Space Invaders, but just people on the ground?
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
But yeah, when you just like picking games like this, I sometimes like to just do it. I call it channel surfing.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. Ooh, I got some graphics right now. I just want to see what a different level looks like.
It's so funny to me that the loading icon is like a book flipping pages. Like, did they just like take that from some other game?
Maybe.
Like, it doesn't fit the aesthetic at all, but whatever.
It's kind of wild as my kids start school on Wednesday. Like, already. It just feels like
that's too early. I mean, I'm sure you don't.
No, I mean, certainly not. But it seems really weird. That's already happening. I mean, my daughter's gonna be in middle school. She's going to a different school this year.
Oh wow! Is it still nearby?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like same district and just like right down the street a little bit. But it's just like crazy that she's gonna be in middle school now. Although middle
are they
school
like
is
looking
is in the
forward to
same
going
building.
back or dreading going back?
She's a little nervous about it.
Like I was never excited to go back. I was never like, I'm ready for school.
Yeah. There's $4.99 from John H. Thank you.
Why am I having a harder time than normal noticing?
Saying, do you remember the 1989 movie Robot Jocks? Speaking of random 80s movies, I do remember Robot Jocks. I've never seen Robot Jocks, but I remember, like, I knew a lot of people who were like really excited about it. Then they had that movie. It was like very similar, right? Was it like Real Steel that came out with Hugh Jackman?
I don't know anything about this.
Real Steel.
Speaking of random 80s movies, Drum and I watched, every once in a while we'll want to watch a movie that we just cannot find, like, a way to legally stream it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
The Earth
you
has been invaded.
You have to come up with other means to find this movie. And I don't know if this was actually one that we couldn't find, but something that was on our list for a while was just purely because of the name, a 1981 horror movie called The Boogans. The Boogens.
Yeah.
The Boogans. And we wanted to watch it just because it was called The Boogans. And I think you might have like been able to actually stream it, but we had like long ago filed that away into the probably can't find anywhere to stream this category. So he already had like downloaded to a flash drive. And I asked him, I said, since I just got the RetroTink 4K, I said, I'm actually kind of excited to try some of the some movies like that. So he brought his flash drive with some low quality movie streams on it. And I gotta say, the RetroTink didn't hide all of the bad compression, but it probably helped a little bit. So I am the first and only person to have watched The Boogans on a RetroTink 4K.
Maybe even just like upscaled to 4K in general. Like, I don't know.
I played it off of the Xbox through to the RetroTink with the CRT filter. Because it definitely seems like it seems more like a movie that would have just been like recorded off of TV and then just like sitting under the cabinet, the VHS cabinet.
Yeah.
Like my uncle just had like cabinets that were like all across like one wall and most of the way across the other wall, and like most of what was under there were just like movies recorded off of TV.
Should I try Catwoman? Okay, which one? Am I playing Catwoman or Charlie's Angels? If you had to pick one, what are you playing?
Let's do Charlie's Angels.
Or City Racer, whatever that is. I never heard of. Have you heard of City Racer?
It doesn't sound not familiar.
Everyone's saying, but please, Catwoman. Foresight Asset Management saying, please, Catwoman. Please.
No, but then the one who wrote this says Charlie's Angels, and Matthew McFetter says Charlie's Angels 100%. I gotta say, I really like the idea of the username, the one who wrote this.
I mean, it's pretty.
Would Catwoman be based on the Halle Berry
Yes,
Catwoman?
for sure.
Which
I
I've
think
never
Charlie's
seen,
Angels
but
is based on the movie.
I've heard it's amazingly bad.
Yes. I kind of want to play Charlie's Angels more. I feel like Charlie's
I,
Angels.
I have a feeling Charlie's Angels is more likely to be somewhat interesting. I'm not saying good, but like probably
it's the ultimate
bizarrely
Charlie's Angel
bad.
experience. Sorry.
Huh?
It says the ultimate Charlie's Angel experience.
Oh, well, you know, the ultimate. I mean, do you really want something to be considered the ultimate experience of anything? Like,
No.
like
Never.
because that's the end, right? It's over.
Yeah.
Neko interview?
Maybe this one's based on Full Throttle.
I mean, I've never seen anything Charlie's Angels before.
Oh, really?
No. I mean,
Oh,
I
I mean,
know
we're
of
definitely
it,
gonna
but
get-
that's all I know.
I need to turn down the music here because it would definitely get
Flagged.
flagged. That's probably too late.
I mean, this menu looks competent so far.
Yeah.
I like how the A button is marked as valid.
Somewhere in New York City. You know what I almost played tonight? Is the Matrix Path of Neo.
Oh yeah.
I thought about it.
Now I think like one of the Matrix games is considered pretty decent, one's considered pretty bad, right?
Yeah, I mean the first one is, but I've heard that the Path of Neo is like strangely like pretty good, but also completely goes crazy at the end with like meta stuff.
Huh.
Like, and it's kind of
Oh, the one with like the giant Agent Smith boss where they say like,
that.
oh, we're just doing this because it's a video game and we have to have this. There was a $10 super
It just
chat
like
from
makes me feel so
988.
bad for anybody. Like having to be like, you know, like you're an actor and you're getting like, this is how you're getting rendered in games in this period of time. You know, it makes it feel so bad for them. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, it's not great. At the time, it probably looked impressive though.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
think the first one is like totally good. The first, it has what's his face is the bad guy. Why can't I think of his name? Sam. What's his name? Like, why can't I think of it? It's the guy from Iron Man 2 and
Good point, Boz. We'll try not to blow anything up.
he's I love his dance. Like he does like a fun dance.
Oh, the guy who played War Machine in the first.
No, Sam Rockwell. Yeah,
Oh.
he's like the villain in the first Charlie's Angels.
Anyway, Junko 988 had a $10 super chat saying, hypothetical, you are a game director at Sega. The execs demand a game that replicates a real life activity in game with arcade controls. What would you choose? I'd say window
What's going
washer on
on?
a skyscraper.
Not
Let's
what
see
I
how
was
that could be
expecting to
fun.
happen here. Look at how janky this is. Like the movement is like so. What is? What is going on? What is going on? I can't. Like this is like
these animations.
Are they trying to attack me? Look.
Are they with you? Are they following you like
this is like what this is what the movie's kind of like. It has like off the wall like weird martial arts stuff. You know, like wire fu type stuff. So I can appreciate what they're trying to do.
Anyway,
but it's hilarious.
I mean, a window washer on a skyscraper. That's a decent idea. I mean, you know, I've never played, but like that kind of like, you know, the boring task simulator concept seems to be pretty popular these days.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
so
like Power Wash Simulator and stuff like that.
Do you don't have Power Wash Simulator, do you?
No.
I mean, are you familiar? Like, I didn't realize that it has like all these crossovers with stuff.
I'm familiar enough with that aspect.
I mean, I didn't realize you could like. Is it like you can like power wash like Cloud Sword and stuff?
I mean, I've never watched a video. I'm familiar with it. I've seen that they've done crossovers, but I've never like even seen a video of it to my recollection. But anyway, we have to pick an activity as per Junko's super chat here.
I mean, I'm like
it has arcade controls, so like
I mean, I'll go mowing the lawn with a push mower. Like I would like it if I had like actual like a push mower like handle on it, and to like start moving you have to like if you just stand in place.
So you're thinking like an actual arcade machine?
Yes.
Like
but you gotta like pull back like the automatic like the fail safe like stop. You know, like the bar, and you gotta press a button. Like I mean, I would totally do that.
What is even going on in this game?
You know, like this
animation
is
so weird. Let's see. I mean, I'll think in terms of that, like something that you could do like in an arcade with like actual physical like bespoke controls for an arcade machine. Real life activity.
Will you do me a favor and run this through the 4K like at some point during the week?
This game?
This game specifically, yes.
I mean, for one, I don't know if it's on my GC loader. I don't have a big enough card to have the whole library on. So I don't know if it's on my GC loader or not.
This is so stupid. It's like somebody got this game for Christmas. Imagine Christmas morning, like this is what you get.
You know, I was gonna say for the arcade game, like what about like a soldering simulator? Maybe you could actually learn to do something useful.
Yeah.
So that's a skill I would like to learn, but unless it's gamified in some way, I'll probably never make the effort. I mean, honestly, I would just like to see like an arcade game that just like simulates the feel of real driving. Like I've never felt like I have experienced, and it's not like I've tried anything like ultra recent or anything, but like I've never felt like I've experienced like a video game driving wheel that like actually felt like it was simulating what real life driving feels like.
Oh, I definitely, you just haven't played it. I mean, I'm sure GT7 with a good steering wheel.
I'm skeptical. Like if you wanted to just drive, if you wanted to drive in GT7 with a steering wheel,
dude, I mean,
if you want to drive,
did it like John himself said that it fools them into thinking it's real sometimes, like playing in VR.
But like,
I mean, I would trust him.
I would, but
he's like driven
he's also so used to playing video game arcade games, and like I'm not. like racing arcade games. I'm not used to that, and like every time I've picked it up, it's like this does not feel like real. Like I just want to be able to take a steering wheel and like drive around in a way that doesn't feel like driving a video game. Like I want to be able to like drive and just like
Look at that phone.
like
no, that's like
like
just like
city
my phone.
traffic or something like that, or just drive on the highway in a video game in a way that feels actually like real people drive, like not racing.
I guarantee you this exists.
Not running over people, not like, drive like taking turns terribly. I've never played a game where it actually felt like this feels like how people normally drive in real life. Morning commute simulator. There you go, Shadow Mask. There's got to be a good way to make a video game out of that. Morning commute simulator. I actually like that idea.
You know what? I'm not gonna play this.
You're not gonna play City Racer?
No, I'm gonna play something that I like never really played. Like we're just talking about driving games. A game that I've never really played, but I've always like wanted to.
Is it going to be Modellista?
Yeah.
I mean, I've told you my story with that, right?
Yeah. That I guess I have loaded whatever save file. Maybe I captured footage from this. Warning.
I mean, at the time this came out, it was not particularly well regarded.
No.
Or at least it didn't get very good reviews. People were kind of hyped for it just because it had a cool look, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely remained in the public consciousness. I think, like, it is a notable game just for its look, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think like anyone's really tried to make.
I've heard that like it like plays differently, like in different regions.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can only drive the Mustang GT.
But the GameCube version of this I think is pretty expensive now, but I'm not sure if the PS2 version is. I think the PS2 version might not be anything crazy. But yeah, I had this game on GameCube briefly because I won it as part of this kind of large prize package.
Right.
Back in, it must have been 2004. And the website that today is called Nintendo World Report, back when it was first founded, it was called Planet GameCube because it was founded in the GameCube, kind of at the beginning of the GameCube era, or maybe in the lead up, the pre-release hype period of GameCube. They did this contest where it was a video contest where you make some sort of creative video to hype up Planet GameCube's E3 coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of prizes. Like the first 3 places all got a copy of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes signed by the Silicon Knights team. There was a bunch of other stuff. Like Capcom must have been a major sponsor of the contest because there was several Capcom things. There was PN03, Modellista, and there was like a Mega Man pin or something like that. There was an arcade stick. Like official GameCube. I give you that GameCube like that winter hat.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of that contest.
I recently found a Wii U winter hat also.
Oh yeah?
I think I think I got that one someplace, and it's just really funny that I have both a GameCube and a Wii U winter hat. But that was one of the things you got.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bunch of things in the package, but yeah, like I was like not that interested in Auto Modellista or Piano 3. Like I almost just traded them in at FuncoLand, like just to get trade-in credit, like without even trying. Because I definitely put like IGN at that time was like my main source of game information.
Jeez.
And I definitely I definitely paid too much attention to their reviews. Like I would probably have God Hand if I didn't, right? A lot more people would have God Hand if they didn't pay attention to IGN reviews. If IGN didn't give God Hand a 3 or whatever it was that they gave it, God Hand would probably not be that expensive of a game because people would have bought God Hand. But anyway.
Well, if it was, yeah.
But like, I saw that, Auto Modellista and Piano 3 did not get very good reviews. So I was just like, oh, these probably aren't very good. And like I said, I almost turned them in because I thought, well, I'll get really good trading credit. Because as long as the game was like relatively new, like back in the FuncoLand days, like you got pretty good trading credit. Regardless of the game's quality.
Yeah.
And so I was just going to trade in, and I was like, well, I should try them before I turn them in. And, I tried Auto Modellista, and it was not
I bet you
interesting
played
to
half
me.
a race.
Huh?
I bet you played half a race.
I bet I did. I bet I did.
I mean, I feel like I'd keep it just because, like, it like looks.
It's visually interesting.
Yeah,
And I do. Don't get me wrong. I regret getting rid of it, but it's not really my kind of racing game, though. It's not really my kind of racing game, but it is visually interesting. I regret not. I don't hugely regret, but I do regret not having it. But then I boot up Piano 3, and I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah.
So I kept that, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah. I mean, Ego Dreamer is saying Rip Clover Studio. I mean, they're platinum.
They're platinum, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, which platinum's had difficulties lately. I mean, I hope they hang in there.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, platinum's kind of old at this point, but, I still like think of them as like one of the more like relatively recent like big success stories for Japan, like in terms of like a big new studio that had a lot of success. That when they started at the beginning of the HD era, right? And that was a time when Japan was struggling the most. That was the most difficult period of time for Japanese game development.
Yeah.
And so for them to have been born at that time and become, a pretty successful and very well renowned studio, that was very impressive. But so it makes me sad that they've had difficulty lately.
Kebabs is saying, I think Coury's right. The Japanese version of the game has much less slippery controls. Apparently, I mean, I should find the Japanese version and put it on here just to try it sometime. See if it feel nothing without vibration. That's what it says. Feel nothing. I feel nothing without vibration. Nothing.
Nothing.
Like I am literally dead if I'm not vibrating. Kebabs, I only know because you are in our Discord and you said specifically like how to pronounce it.
There you go.
Even though maybe I didn't comment on it, a lot of times I'm there looking, watching. And yeah. Anyways, it's 11:30. Can I
Oh wow!
really
we,
fast?
we ended up sticking in the games I haven't booted phase a little longer than expected.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Time flies by when you're discovering space raiders.
Space Raiders, you know? It's always nice when you find like little hidden gems. I feel like we should just do like channel surfing streams like more often. Even if it's just like channel surfing on the Mister.
It's fun, yeah.
You know? I mean, like I have an idea for like our year-end video to have like a little channel surfing segment because I've like played like a bunch of random things that I've thought about like, oh, I should just like I've like written it down and said, oh, I'm gonna remember this for like this little segment that I want to do. Just like things that I just like played that I normally wouldn't have, but I only did it because like it was just like a random thing to play. Like Dynamite Ducks, the arcade version of Dynamite Ducks. It's like it's on the Sega System 16. Is there's a physical version of Power Wash Simulator, right? Will you really quick look up how much Power Wash Simulator, like the PS5 version, is?
Let's see. Power Wash Simulator. Does it have online co-op?
Maybe.
Let's see. The PS5. It's the PS5 and Xbox Series X physicals are $25.
Oh, I'll totally get one of those then. I mean, I feel like that
there's
sounds really.
The there's a Switch physical, but it's a download code.
It's online co-op only.
Oh, so no local.
Yeah. Dad's thermostat control simulator. Yeah, I mean, what else is there?
So
I mean, you know what I would want? Okay, here's what I want. I want a compressed air simulator where you're like spraying compressed air into different things.
And it never loses its ability.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds great,
amazing,
right?
actually.
And it's like you get like different things that you can like spray inside of like a computer, like get like all
the
fans.
It never like you don't like managing the like level of compression is like not a part of the gameplay. It's just always fully capable.
Yeah.
That sounds great because you can't get that experience in real life because real canned air always sucks.
Yeah, that's basically Power Wash Simulator, but it's,
but like small electronics.
Yeah, small electronics.
It does sound great. Like that alone, like kind of makes me understand the appeal of Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah,
and like I have the Amazon page open right now. Like $25 doesn't sound bad.
No,
like I've not watched any video of it. Like should I just buy that and like go in completely blind? Like because I've heard it's a big enough of a deal to have all these crossovers. I guess.
Yeah, well,
but it is published by Square Enix, so it's not surprising they can have like a Final Fantasy.
Like I think like I only know about the Buster Sword. I think it would be really interesting to, like just go into it like not knowing anything else.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it right now. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it right now.
How about the RetroTink 4K adjustment simulator?
Ooh.
It just gives you different things and you're like trying to make it not the upscale simulator. Trying to make it not shimmer, right?
Like they'll just give you like the jankiest looking like scaled game and you're like trying to fix it.
And it's like, make this look good.
Yeah. I played that game all day today. It was fun.
What else would be fun? VHS digitizing simulator.
I mean, is there that much to do?
No. Basically, you start it and then you like hit record on your computer, and then you just like sit back and you watch whatever it is. and it has.
You know the thing I like
imagine if
about
it
I
included
saw
over
Master
5,000
Safer say
hours
that
of.
Firebrand X is winning all the leaderboards. But the thing, I was thinking earlier today that that I what I really like about doing like HDMI, like fixing the scaling and from HDMI sources, is it lets me feel like I'm Firebrand X, but it's easy mode. Because I can never do what he does with the analog sources. It's way too complicated. But
Yeah.
HDMI, you get to do the same thing, but it's not that hard.
How about like cable
Detangler simulator?
Detangling, that's the word I was looking for.
That doesn't sound very fun. That doesn't sound very fun. I mean, we have cable ties, like Velcro cable ties around our cables explicitly so we don't have to play that game.
Yeah. Cable management simulator. I mean, there is somebody that would find that like really nice, I think. Like just a cable management
finger licking
simulator.
good simulator?
Yeah.
I mean, I like me some fried chicken. I had KFC 2 days ago.
And then if you're playing that, you eventually like some certain sources will stop working, and you got to figure out where in the chain the mess up is, the part you got to replace. And you get like you get cables, you get like HDMI splitters and switch boxes and extenders.
Well, how about I have to test this device with systems that are normally not hooked up simulator, and you have to like find room to place the systems and the cables that you're not normally using, and you make a big mess, big stack of games, because that's what my living room looks like right now. I mean, really, it wouldn't be that bad if it weren't for the fact that I don't have like I don't normally use analog video systems downstairs.
Yeah.
So since I need to test analog video stuff with the Retrode 4K,
Capcom presents Marvel versus Capcom. You know, if I ever hear like that voice say Capcom, I immediately hear like the intro music to Marvel vs. Capcom 1. I don't know if that's just me, or if anybody else has that same problem. Capcom presents. All right, well, I think that's gonna do it for this Sunday night. Thank you to everybody who donated, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful week ahead of them. Yeah. And
who knows? Next week could be Power Wash Simulator.
Maybe.
Or maybe not. I don't know. But it's arriving Tuesday.
Oh, you ordered it?
I did it. I ordered it.
All right.
Going in blind.
You've done it. All right. I hope everyone has a great week, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Good night.